Listen, Vegas. Welcome to the slaughterhouse. Perfect.
Hey, we're back with Welcome to the Slaughterhouse. Look, now, last time I had Adam from Gofigure on my channel, he said, you know what? I've never been on an episode of Welcome to the Slaughterhouse. And that blew my mind. I was like, how? How has my best buddy in the world never been on an episode of Welcome to the Slaughterhouse? This guy has helped me on games night since day one. He's my Mo Tuesday compatriot, along with Phil. How is this legend never been on an episode of Welcome to the Slaughterhouse? Well, in his honor, we're going to call this episode Welcome to the Figure House and bring on my good buddy and yours, Adam from Gofigure.
How's it going?
Hey, what's up? What's up? Good to see you, buddy.
Well, it's good to be seen. It's good to be here in the slaughterhouse, in the figure house, if you will.
Yeah,
now, I don't know what the weather's like in Australia, but in Canada, it's the dreary season where things are getting darker. Like it's getting darker earlier and it's staying darker later in the morning, and it's kind of like rainy and getting close to winter time.
Right.
Which ironically gets Christmas on the brain.
Oh, of course.
And so I was doing some customizing this week, a couple custom figure projects. So I was going through my parts bin, and I'm only one piece away from completing your Christmas present. Like I have the main torso and the waist, and I have one of his legs. And so
get stuffed. Get out.
One more leg, and I'll have them ready for you for the tree.
Yeah, okay, whatever. Get out of town. You're lucky I like you. Actually, you know what would be interesting? Is a collection of Spikor heads.
On pikes?
On like baubles.
Oh, like a whole tree done.
Yeah.
I could do a whole tree in Motu heads.
Okay, you want to switch up my idea, that's fine.
Yeah, no, you go ahead. What were you saying?
No, that's a better idea. That is actually a better idea than just Spikor everywhere.
Right.
Maybe switch the colors a little. Have you ever seen the prototype image of Spikor?
I don't think I have.
I saw it on the Battle Ram blog website. Great guy over there. He had an image of him there, and he looked more like a porcupine and was colored appropriately. So like a more of a tan sort of yellowish color. I don't know what color is a porcupine.
They're like brown and black and gray.
Yeah, this one was brown and tan and
was less purple.
Very less purple, a lot less garbage. I think the fact that it's only got one leg makes it infinitely better than
he's the pirate Spikor.
Yeah. No, well, he's already got one hand less, so we'll just give him a peg leg.
Put a trident for his leg.
Yeah, Pegor.
Oh, not Pegor.
Not Pegor? That's something else. All right, hang on. Let's say hi to the chat real quick. So you were here early, pumped. Well, I'm also pumped and jazzed. Ultimate Warrior fan. We call him the Ultimate Puke fan. 3312's coming at you. How are you, buddy? Just kidding about the puke part. You're welcome at the slaughterhouse, mate. TJC channel member. How are you, my good sir?
Channel member and just absolute crushing it on his channel.
I love his channel. It's bringing me back to the old retro games. We did recently have Terry on the episode of Incoming Transmission. We also had, and so check that episode out. Great episode. Loved every part of it. Love every part of this man too. Every part of it. You couldn't point at one part of him that I don't like.
It's like Indiana Jones. Here.
Yeah.
But I want to say something, and sometimes this gets overlooked in the YouTube world. Guys put a lot of energy into what the presentation of their channel looks like. TJC has just put out a new logo, which is like in Genesis and Nintendo. It's great. TJC, your new logo is fantastic. So great job on that.
I agree. He did do an excellent job. Sega and Nintendo coming together in TJC style. Love it. We also had recently Nate, our mate Nate, the RetroTinker was on the channel too recently. I know these guys from Friendship.
I know these guys from Friendship.
I know them from Friendship.
It was an early morning here in Canada because I had to catch Nate's premiere of his new video where he fixes an old Australian race car toy, which is something I've never heard of before, this driver that you guys were all known. But if you have not, if you're watching and haven't seen Nate's channel, go to it because it's brilliant. Nate's a brilliant guy. But there's all kinds of brilliant people around. That's not a thing. The thing I adore about Nate is that, and I think much like yourself, much like myself, but maybe to another degree, is that guy just loves toys and the whimsy of toys. And in his latest video, there's a moment, I don't know if you caught it, where he was wiring and he actually he broke it like 3 times trying to fix it. But then he got it back to when it worked, when he put in the engine, he let out a glee of laughter. Pure joy. More of that.
I felt his success when he did that. But he didn't do it alone. He had a helper, the best helper, in Kimberly, or Kimbo, as I call her. Hello, Kimbo. She'll come out in the chat. Don't call me Kimbo.
My sister's name is Kimberly. And as a kid, everybody called her Kim. And it drove me crazy. So it's like, that's not her name. Her name is Kimberly. So whenever I see a Kimberly, I make an effort to be like, I will call you your full name, all the consonants, with respect.
Meanwhile, I'm throwing out Kimbos over here. Oh boy. Hey, Phil. He's in the chat. How are you, Phil?
Look at that.
Phil from Treasures for Trigger, another guy that's absolutely nailing it. I don't know if you can notice, but there's a little bit of trash over my shoulder here in the form of Michael. Oh, god dang. Sorry, I said the G word.
So I on Instagram last night I found this new account where it's this guy and his girlfriend. I think they're like 20 or 21 years old. But if he makes a gagging sound, she can't help. She just reacts to it and will like dry heave. He'll be like,
if you're tuning in,
he'll be filming them like walk the mall or something. He'll just go look at the camera and go like dry heaving in the mall. And it's priceless. Like, it's so good. I think that's what happens anytime it says Spike, or you're like, it's like you can't help it.
I can't help it. Most of this collection behind me is coming to you live from Nudsy.
Nazi, why you got a spike or like that?
Why you got to spike on me like that? Why you got to do me dirty like that? And we also have Handsome Man, Ratface 44 Review, saying, "Sup guys and everyone."
Right. What a beauty.
We also have channel member and just good dude David Blain, David Samuel Blain.
Not to be confused with David Blain.
No, not to be confused. Who also sent a super sticker. Thank you very much. And TJC said, "From me and Jace to you two legends." All right, we've got £1 each, buddy.
Look at that. I don't know how I would spend £1.
Well, you save it. You save it for something for a rainy day.
Right.
When there's a Skyfall, and here it is. How are you, Skyfall? Good to see you, mate. And now this next person I'm going to bring on the screen. All right, I'm going to invite this individual onto a show, and we are going to debate Real American Hero versus International Heroes. That's our good friend Crash. And I think that if I'm going to have anyone on the channel to discuss the Real American Hero, it's got to be with the guy that's got the most thickest American accent on any person I've ever met.
So I want to say this. We're going to talk a little bit about Joefest today.
Yes.
And so hanging out with you and Gaz and Kelly and Hans and Joe Ricondo and like all the guys who like we hung out with here before Joefest, it was like expectations were blown. I'd only like interact with Crash for like maybe a week or two before Joefest. He was like my biggest surprise takeaway. Like I came home with like a new good friend in Crash. That guy is a beauty.
He still sometimes teases me about my inability to drink that million-year-old whiskey that he had.
Yeah.
But that stuff burned. That stuff burned real good. Burned so good. Speaking of so good, betaraybob, how are you, my good sir?
Fantastic.
What a legend this guy is. Speaking of legends,
he's got a big
I don't
beard.
know.
He's got a nice beard.
Oh, he does. I wanted to sort of just get in on it. You know what I mean? Like when you see a good solid beard, you just want to get in on it. Only beard guys get it. You get it.
I get it.
Speaking of legendary channels, someone that I'd like to get to know more on a deeper level, other than just appreciating the content, because the content's always very good. But it's not always about the content. Sometimes it's about the person. And I feel like in this case, JLS Comics, I would love to get to know a little bit more as a person. Hang out a little bit. So JLS, if you want to hang out at the Slaughterhouse one day so we can get to know you more as a person and not just a legendary YouTube sensation, that would be cool. It would be cool to me.
Yeah.
But thanks again to David for the super sticker and TJC for the couple of pounds coming at you. And in Australian dollars, that's actually quite good.
Yeah.
Anything coming our way is excellent. If I ever send you anything, the conversion rate is not good at all, and I apologize. I had a good friend Joe Ricondo send me a package, and I was like, well, I'm going to send out some money for the item, obviously, and also the money for the postage. It's like, it costs this much money. I was like, oh, okay, that's not so bad. Like, it's not great. Like, you know, a bunch of toys, it's not great. You know, it is what it is. That's how much they cost, right?
Yeah.
From Walmart and Target and places like that. So that's how much they're selling them for. You know, he's selling to me at cost. He's found him just because he's just a bloody good legend.
Absolutely.
And I'm like, oh, okay, that's, you know, it's a bit rough, but okay, right? I'm not saying it's a bit rough that he's charging me that much. I'm just saying that's how much they sell them for. I want to make that perfectly clear. I'm not saying don't charge me how much that is. That's just how much they were. I don't want to sound like I'm being, you know, cheap. But then when the conversion happened, right, it's like twice as much in Australian dollars. I'm like, oh, bugger. Okay. Whoops. I'm going to have to get back to you. Hang on.
Yeah, no, it's like that with Canada and America too. So like we're about 70% of what an American dollar is. So
right.
when you see stuff online, Margot Killer,
Teddy Belcher, Maggot Killer, Maggot.
That was a Margot. I had a Margot Killer flashback.
Teddy Belcher, 4K ultra wide. Welcome to the Slaughterhouse, buddy. Ultimate Warrior fans leaving. Sorry to see you go, mate, but thanks for dropping in.
Kind of like the real thing where he can only last a couple minutes in the ring.
It's like there's not enough Ultimate Warrior happening around here. That must be between him and 3,311 other people. He's definitely one of the biggest Ultimate Warrior fans there is.
Do you ever go to make an email, like when Gmail came out, right? And I wanted to be, you know, like Adam at Gofigure at Gmail or whatever it was going to be. And then it's like, that's been taken. Do you ever randomly email those emails like, hey, why are you taking my email for?
Well, I don't know. One of my emails that I use is just my name. And so believe it or not, I haven't had to go Zazel Phoenix 1, right? Zazel Phoenix was just ready and available for me to take. So I haven't, no struggle here for that.
Yeah. No, so for a long time, my email was niprock@hotmail.com. Because I used to live in a town called Nipigon.
Yeah.
And then when I moved from that, people were like, hey, where are you from? I was like, oh, I'm from Nipigon. So when all through high school, they started calling me Nippy. That was my email. My nickname was Nippy. And it stuck. It stuck for years. and you just got to embrace it, right? You take a joke and make it, and then it's not a joke anymore. So then, when I was in a band and we were like wanted to make an album, we wanted to like, what's our record label going to be called? Because that's what you think. I was like, we'll call it Nip Rock Records. And then my email, like my first email ever was niprock@hotmail.com. So when I went to Gmail, it was like niprock@gmail.com. It's like, this has been taken. I was like, who do you think? I've been at Hotmail. So I emailed that guy. I was like, who are you? And why you? And it was somebody from the Middle East who did not understand what I was talking about.
You're such an internet bully.
I am. So
I know you know
internet bullies. One of my favorite. This is something that's going to be kind of funny for you. I hope it's funny for you. So one of my favorite country music stars is a Canadian named Carolyn Dawn Johnson. She's like a big Canadian country singer. So I follow her on Facebook, and she goes live a lot, and we'll be like, hey, and she'll sing songs and do stuff. And I always comment, and she always like answers back. And then I got a message from an account with 4 followers called the Carolyn Dawn Johnson private chat.
Okay. Yeah.
So clearly that's not real. But here's our conversation. I think you will enjoy.
Good. Let's hear it.
She messaged me and says, hello. I said, hey. And she goes, hi, fan. Thank you so much for supporting my dreams and career. I'm like, this is perfect. I love this already. Yeah. I dig in. I'm like, haha, it's a pleasure. And she goes, how are you doing? It's an honor chatting with the top fan. I said, I'm great, and thank you so much. She says, how long have you been a fan? You're welcome. My lyric video will be available Monday. I hope you will get it. So I dig into this. I said, I've been a fan since 2001. And she says, that's great. Where are you chatting from? I said, Ontario, Canada, because I know she's a Canadian.
Right,
She says, great. And I said, absolutely. And she goes, have you been to any of my shows? I said, yes, in 2003 and 2005. And she says, this is where it gets good. What is your favorite song? I said, Dress Rehearsal. She goes, thank you. That's one of my favorite too. I said, that's great. Do you enjoy Masters of the Universe? And she said, I do, with a heart.
Okay.
I said, I would love to have you as a guest on my morning show, Mo Tuesday mornings. And she says, okay, talk to me about it.
Okay.
I said, it's 3 guys from around the globe, Canada, 1 from Australia, 1 from Japan. And we bring a guest on and talk about vintage Masters of the Universe figures. She says, wow, that's interesting. Would be glad to be a part of this. So where do I come in? Then she says, to discuss further arrangements, you have to contact my manager. He's in charge of all my booking arrangements. And I said, perfect. Can you give me his contact information? So she gives me a number to call on WhatsApp, because all managers celebrities use WhatsApp.
Of course. That's why we use it.
So then I screenshotted that conversation and I sent it to the real Carolyn Dawn Johnson.
Right. Okay.
She's like, thank you. This is great. We hate fakes. It causes a lot of problems. So she was really thankful. But then the fake person came back to me. She says, that's right. She says, did you message my manager? And I wish you a happy Sunday. So I just said, are we good for next Tuesday? The subject will be Stinker or Merman. Who used the mold better? She said, sounds intriguing. Make sure you book it with my manager. So I'm dangerously close to booking fake Carolyn Dawn Johnson on the show.
I kind of want you to call the number.
Right? I kind of want to follow this through.
Like, who's going to show up?
It could be anybody.
It literally could be anyone. All right, we need to tee this up. Call him now. Call him live.
Oh,
let's do it on WhatsApp.
Just call them right now. Like right now.
Why not? Let's do it. Let's call them.
This is happening. Call.
We need to book for Mo Tuesday.
It's ringing. Prank calls with Zazel and Adam.
Pick up your pussy. Pick up.
This manager is the worst.
The worst manager. Like, do you not want to be booked? Now, I think what needs to happen is that you need to go back to her and say, all booked. See you Tuesday. Here's the link.
No, I'm not going to lie to her.
No, let's not do that.
I'm going to say, called your manager.
Hello.
So I say, called your manager. I'll send the link for next Tuesday.
Excellent. Well, that's true. That's factual. We happened. Well, we did happen. But it happened.
I call that method called two truths, where you say two things that are true that aren't connected, but people assume they're connected.
Yeah. Right. Well, we did call. We'll send a link. This is going to happen.
Yeah.
Watch this space. Watch this space.
So whoever comes on,
you
need to play it straight. Like, welcome to the show.
Them. Whoever shows up, it's them. I don't know who it is that you're talking about, but that's fine. I'm going to do a little bit of research, and I'm going to, if anyone does show up, just go, I'm a fan of this, I'm a fan of that.
It'll be like The Simpsons when Michael Jackson was on, but it was like an obese white man.
Simpsons did it.
Yeah.
All right, so Adam, I wanted to talk to you about when we caught up for the first time, which didn't feel like the first time, to be fair. It felt like we'd known each other forever. Go through a couple of photos and talk about our experiences hanging out, catching up with the Sarge. I want to show you my favorite photo of us and the Sarge. I'm sure you remember it well. And it's, sorry, wrong one. Hang on a minute. Sorry, wrong photo. Actually, this is a great idea. Invite the real person too and have them interview each other. Brilliant.
Yeah, I'll talk to CDJ.
But ask the real one to pretend not to be them and pretend to be the biggest fan.
Or somebody else be like, you're going to come on as Dolly Parton.
Right. Perfect. Anyway, so we're basically twinning here.
Yeah.
And this is literally the first photo we took together. Not the first hug we had. We hugged outside. This is the garden of my childhood hero, Sergeant Slaughter.
Right. It was a real Mr. Miyagi-like backyard, wasn't it?
It really was. It also had a golf course along the back of it as well.
Right.
It's bros. Oh, yeah. So lovely. Anyway, moving on. Here we are. Here's the real photo. Look at this. And we're like, Sarge, we love your commitment to AC/DC here. But you're wearing the wrong shirt, mate. We sent you the memo.
Yeah.
You're supposed to be wearing one of these checkered style shirts. But no, he's wearing G.I. Joe. He's G.I. Joe head to toe. And he loves that, the Hall of Fame ring too. He loves that. He'll put that up in any photo he's in.
But to be fair, if I had a WWE Hall of Fame ring, I'd probably open that thing up too, right?
So you guys hit it off until you didn't, and then it turned real quick.
But it's funny, if you go back to those two pictures, his face doesn't change. He's like happy there, no big deal. Happy there, no big deal.
Yeah. And, either way, I'll just do a GIF. Turn this into a GIF.
But look at the size of that man's hand around my throat.
Yeah.
It looks like I'm a baby and he's burping me.
Oh man.
But this was an impromptu meeting. This was like not on the docket per se.
It was not on the docket. In fact, I didn't even know I was going to be here this day. I had no idea we were going to be here. This is day 2 for me.
This was Wednesday.
Right. So I'd been there since I think Tuesday. This might have been the second day I was there. And I think we were just it was okay. So for starters, this was the day that the Iron Sheik had died.
Right.
So the Iron Sheik had passed away. The Iron Sheik being potentially, if not factually, the biggest rival other than Cobra to Sergeant Slaughter.
Right.
And then finding out that they were actually very, very good friends in real life. And he was like an uncle to Kelly, Sarge's daughter, and very good friend of ours. So being at the Sarge's house on the day that the Iron Sheik had passed away, and gonna see my best bud hanging out at the Sarge's house.
Yeah.
How does that even happen?
Well, what happened was you, unbeknownst to the world and yourself, were like, let's go to Sarge's house and you can meet your childhood hero.
Yeah.
And I was driving down to Georgia from Canada. We'd road tripped it down. Yeah, his finger and thumb were touching. And we knew that you were in North Carolina, at Kelly's place. And I said, hey, we're passing through North Carolina. Like, how close are you? Are you on the way? We should. Right. Whoa. I'm the one that talks too much. I said, like, do you want to, because we were going to meet at Joefest for the first time, but I was like, if I can meet my best buddy here first and make just go get a lunch or something, that would be great. So I texted you, I was like, hey, where are you at? Do you want to get lunch? Or like, I'm on the way. And you responded to us. Now we were in like a like little old country village doing geocaching with my wife. Because and you were like, actually, like, I'm at Sarge's house right now. And you sent me like a picture of you with his belt.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, and my initial reaction was like, we don't want to interfere on what's going on there. Like, just you have your moment. And you're like, no, buddy, come. This will never happen again. You need to get here. So I said to my wife, I was like, we're going to Sergeant Slaughter's house for lunch. And my wife, who is amazing, she's incredible. Well, she's like, well, is that on the itinerary? Is it on the way? I was like, I don't care if it adds a day to the trip. Luckily, it was about an hour out of our way, so you just did that without even thinking because we're road tripping it anyways. Yeah. And we showed up, and it was without Sarge trying, he was the greatest showman. And I think it's perpetually. So we show up, you run into the driveway, and then it was like when doves cry and a mill house meets another mill house. Yeah. You know, we met and it was incredible. And then Kelly came out. We met Kelly and her kids, but Sarge wasn't home. He was out getting food. Yeah. So then we're there in Sarge's house without Sarge. Right. And I felt like a high school kid having a party before their parents got home. Right. And I was like, well, what's gonna happen now? And then Hall of Famer walks in. Oh, hey guys, how you going? I got some food here, and welcome to the house. And it was just the nicest guy ever. And it was just maybe like one of the greatest afternoons of ever times. It was such a so here was the, other than wanting to hang out before Joefest and meet you and your wife in person. Heather Lovely, by the way, does not like hugs, but I went in for one anyway. I didn't know the rules. Yeah. I didn't know the rules. I didn't know we got married. But well done for her for coming in for a hug instead of going, ooh, no. Yeah. Yeah, she's not a hugger. I'm absolutely a hugger. But for me, it was like, okay, so I'm in the house of Sergeant Slaughter, right? Yeah. And for me, it's mind-blowing. Right? Mind-blowing, right? But I'm there with Kelly and her kids. That's Kelly's dad, and that's the kids' grandfather, right? They don't get it like me as a fan, right? And I feel like, okay, I've got to play it cool because I'm the odd duck here, right? I don't want to be like a super fan walking around the house acting like a super fan. I want to be like normal. But when you were just around the corner, essentially, I'm like, here's another person that will get it from my point of view. Yeah. Someone who will understand it, basically understand exactly what I'm Oh, we got Space Commander. Yeah. What a beauty. Of course. We'll catch in the beginning later. That's all right, buddy. We're pretty much, we're 30 minutes in, but we pretty much only just started talking on topic. Yeah, we made a phone call, and we've been chatting. Yeah, we did make a fake call. You didn't answer. Hello? I'm fighting. I'm a tri-fighter. No, I can't do a very good British accent. I can't even do a very good Aussie one.
But yeah, it was like for the first time, I was able to relax in my sort of nerdness. You know what I mean? Like the ultra fan of it all. Because, full force. So it was, I was able to actually relax into my geekness because I was like, okay, I feel safe now. I got my people around me, right? They get it, they understand. Because at that point, I'd sat down and I'd watched some wrestling, and I'd watched an episode of Teen Titans Go with Sarge. Like, he was proud of this voiceover work he did on Teen Titans Go. And he goes, check this out. So we're sitting there watching it, and I'm like, oh, yeah, this is fucking great. Oh, language, sorry to all the kids out there. This is great. And then, and I'm like, I said, but I still sort of feel like don't geek out, you know, like don't freak out. But it was, but then you show up and we're just like, how cool is this? We're just looking around going, look at all of this. Look at it.
Well, and it was also surreal. So then we have lunch, and now we're toasting Chic with the smallest bottles of Mountain Dew I've ever seen in my life.
Right. I've never seen a smaller bottle of Mountain Dew. No.
But with great reverence, Kelly and Sarge are talking about Chic. And for us fans, like, even when he's out of his ring, like, Chic is such a crazy personality, right? Almost everything he says is like some like kind of in gag or like, if you listen to him, my favorite thing that the Chic does is someone will ask him a story, and everybody in the story he calls Mister. He's like, I want to go see him, Mister, and it's always like super respectful. But he also like gives his build weight.
Yeah.
Before I was weighing at 235 pounds, and she came into Mr. Rivera's house, and I said, "Hello, Mr. Rivera." And it's like he gets a bit that he does. But it's even when he's being just telling a story, he's hilarious. But with reverence, being like, when Cosgrove came and worked for my dad's like roofing company, and I was like, this is a surreal moment. I remember looking at you with a wonton in my mouth, being like, "This is happening right now."
Because Sarge brought out an absolute smorgasbord of Chinese food, like more than any party could have finished. And in fact, we did not finish it. There was so much. Sorry,
he's still eating it.
He's still Oh, Crash is in the house. How dare you cuss in Sarge's house? Bad Aussie. Thanks for the super chat, bud. I super appreciate it. I don't know if you caught my comment earlier, but I'm going to hit you up about being a guest on the show so we can debate real American hero versus international hero. I'm going to have my good buddy Crash on there. But, he did. So he had probably ordered everything on the menu, brought it over, and we sat around the table talking about the Iron Sheik. And you couldn't... rest in peace to the Iron Sheik. What a legend. But you couldn't... How can you anticipate being in the legend's house when the Iron Sheik had gone and sitting there and reminiscing about the Iron Sheik as a person, not just a wrestler, but as a person that they knew? You couldn't make that up.
No, and then one of the most surreal things that happened was we're eating this meal, this crazy meal. We're talking
succulent Chinese meal.
It's great. Then his phone rings and he picks it up and just sloughs it off. And Kelly's like, "Oh, who's calling?" He's like, "Oh, TMZ wants to do an interview, but they can call back." And I was like, small part of me was like, I just outranked TMC.
How cool was that?
Yeah.
So we are collectors, right? We are collectors, and we appreciate collections. We appreciate action figures, or sometimes DVDs, lunch boxes. We appreciate that stuff, right? What I didn't anticipate was going into the Sarge's garage, or what do you guys call it? Garage?
I call it garage.
Garage.
Raj.
Right. We went to his garage, and he also had quite the collection. Now, I don't have all of the collection on photo, but I did pick one picture that I thought summed up everything, and that was this brilliant picture here, holding up a boxed mobile command center in his garage, right? And he goes, and I didn't see this and go, oh, check this out. He goes, I want to show you something. Come and check this out. And he holds it up and he goes, you want to get a picture for your buddies? And I'm like, yes, yes. And he's like, all right, let's. And he goes, look, I'm on the box. And I'm like, yeah, yes, you are.
Yeah, right next to his wicker basket.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For him it was probably more of a motor pool than a garage. Now I think so his garage, this is only one corner of it, obviously. That door goes into more garage. Right? That's not to the house, that's to more garage. He had just memorabilia, he had garden stuff, he had household stuff, he had all of that stuff in there. But I think you could probably fit comfortably maybe 6 cars in there. Maybe. Am I overselling it?
No, I think you're about right.
Yeah. But yeah, he had that in there, and there we go. Yeah. What gave it away? The basket is for blueberry picking. Yep. Yeah. And I wouldn't fight him on that. I'd be like, you want to go blueberry picking? I'm like, yes, sir. Yes, I do. But he had tubs upon tubs of action figures, G.I. Joe, wrestling, and whatever. One of the things I found was a signed Colonel Mustafa Iron Sheik action figure.
Oh,
yeah, that was pretty cool. It was signed. But some of the stuff wasn't exactly just not displayed, packaged. Like he wasn't really well set up for keeping it all mint.
Right.
So I donated part of my day to get in there and help sort out some of his collectibles. And every time that I picked up, if I showed interest in something, he'd go, "Do you want it?" No, I don't want it. I don't want it. This is great stuff. Like I love it. I appreciate it. This is my jam. But I don't want it. This is your stuff. I'm just saying, the only thing that I did take, sometimes when I tell this story, people are like, "Oh, you took something though, right? You would have taken something. You would have taken." I said, "No, I didn't take anything." And then some people will say, "Oh, well, I would have taken this or that." I was like, "Well, then you've missed the bloody point, mate." But the only thing that I did take that he seemed really proud to give me was a WWE T-shirt, polo shirt, black polo shirt. And he held it up and he goes, "This has got to be about your size." And I could see the look in his eye, passing it over to me, and he goes, "Will you have this?" And I said, "Yes, I will have that." And then he was like, "God damn it, you've said no to everything else. You're going to take my shirt now?" You want the shirt on my back?
No, I think you raised or skirted around a cool or interesting talking point. Is that I think in our world of collecting that we can get caught up in acquisitions of things and not caught up in both relationships and in experience, right? So nothing Sarge gave you could match the experience you had at his garage going through his stuff and helping him out.
Right there and then was the best gift I could have ever been given.
Right.
Being in the Sarge's presence, in his personal home, looking at his cool stuff was gift enough. I did not need anything else. I understand that Sarge was probably, trying to be very nice and offer me some of his collectibles, but the story behind it too. Like he had a carded. All of these G.I. Joes were carded, right? He had Chuckles. He had Falcon. He had the Renegades. He had a lot of Tiger Force like stuff. All the vehicles that you could think of. And all of these all boxed and ready to go. And he's saying that he picked up all of these action figures when he knew he was going to be in G.I. Joe, so he could sort of understand the story behind it.
Right.
That box was in great condition. Some of the corners were a little bit ratty, but you would expect that after 20 years. I think some of the tape had started to lift, but hasn't unsealed yet. But I think
it's closer to 40 years, buddy.
Ouch. It is too. Oh, my Lord. 40 years. Where did the time go? Oh, all right. I'm depressed now. No. But so he had all this stuff, and he was saying that he got all this stuff because he wanted to understand G.I. Joe a little bit more. So he was in the shops, and he just picked the stuff off the pegs himself. This wasn't given to him.
Right.
This is stuff he acquired himself. And, ouch, that did hurt. Thanks, betaraybob. So I did go into a bit more detail with Space Commander. However, I will say, if you go back and watch that Joefest video that I did with Space Commander, you will hear a lot more toilet talk than you probably want to hear. We're bypassing all the toilet talk today.
All of it.
All of it.
That was in my rider.
But if you want to go check that out, a little bit more detail on a few other things. But yeah, he seemed so happy to show this off. And from his own personal collection. But he had so many things that he had cassette tapes. There was one moment where I pick up, because I'm helping him fix up his garage a little, and he had so much stuff that I don't think I even made a dent, right? But I picked up a cassette tape, right? If we had Space Commander handy, we would have been able to play it, right? But I go, it just says Sergeant Slaughter on this cassette tape. And as a fan of Sarge, I want to know what's on it. It could be anything. I want to hear it. It could be a vintage radio commercial that I've never heard before. And I said, do you know what's on this? He goes, no idea. We should play it. I said, yeah, I want to play it. But he doesn't have a tape player. Nobody has a tape player. So we never got to play it. Kelly rolls up in a car and he goes, oh, have you got a tape player in your car? And she's like, no, nobody does.
It's not a 1993 Caravan.
Yeah, I don't know what's on there anymore. Hey, how are you, buddy? Good to see you. You're not late.
No,
we just started without you. Sorry, friend.
Matthew shows up precisely when he means to.
Exactly. Yeah, he gets it. He gets it. It doesn't feel like 40 years. That hurt my soul.
You know why though? You know why the 90s feels like it's only 10 years ago? Because in the 90s there was such a push for like in the 2000s, this is going to happen. And for all intents and purposes, we're in the 2020s, but in our brains we're still in the 2000s.
It's true.
There's like a barrier. As soon as you hit 2000, like, okay, 2000 is now. Before that was the 90s.
Look at TJC just using this language in the chat. Unbelievable. Grow up. Grow up. Oh, yeah, betaraybob. You did see it. Yeah. I snapped into it and it snapped out of me, but that's all I'm going to say. But thanks for checking that one out, buddy. That happened so long ago that it's time to move on. Speaking of moving on, as much as I love this, and yeah, his AC/DC, the first time I saw him, he was wearing this AC/DC hat. And I was like, for sure he's wearing this for me. But then when you met him, he was wearing an AC/DC shirt. So I was like, no, he's a fan. He's a fan. He's actually got a guitar all signed by AC/DC and another one signed by the Eagles. That's pretty cool. Yeah, so moving on, as much as I love this image, we went to Joefest. I'm wearing the same thing.
I'm wearing similar things, but not the same things.
I like how I've got my arms on the top of my stomach and my fanny pack lifting my stomach up, so it gives me something to rest on. That's just comfort, mate. That's just comfort.
I'm arching my back to hide my stomach.
I make it my business to always make sure that my stomach is in front and on show.
Right.
Will do, buddy. I'll get back to you soon. ASAP. So this was, we were trying to find a specific place.
Yeah.
And, hang on, Cutthroat Comics. Fanny. Stop it. I love when Sarge talks about his voiceover work in the G.I. Joe cartoon. Yeah, I love that too. But then anything he does is great for me. Fanny. Great. Now I can't get monetized. Thanks. Boy band. Yep. Nailing it. Crushing it. And then I realized my height is a little bit, I mean, I couldn't even call it height. I didn't know I was short until I started standing next to people.
You're not. You're just not tall.
Thanks. Yeah. That's our buddy Chad. And Chad and I shared a room. He had an alarm on his phone that was the theme song for Voltron. And most people I know. Anyway, so he had the alarm go off every morning. And most people, when you get an alarm, you're like, oh, I wake up and turn my alarm off. Not Chad. Not Chad. His alarms were for me to wake him up. And it was, now if I hear the Voltron theme, it's like, it reminds me of Chad.
Just wake up Chad, call him. Better get up, buddy.
Yeah, hey, bud. It's time to get up. But he very generously allowed me to stay in his room. We bunked separate beds. It wasn't what I was promised, but it's fine, whatever. And we had a good time. But this photo happened by accident. We would never have been in this place when we took this photo, which was a theater. I think it was called Miller Theater, but I'm not sure. I could be wrong on that. Anyway, don't quote me on it. I might be wrong. But we found this by accident or on accident. Which way does it go? By accident or on accident?
By accident.
We found it by accident. And I want one too. Dreams can come true. We found it by accident because we walked in the wrong direction for a considerable amount of time looking for a place that we were supposed to meet people at. But we got to enjoy the town, which I don't think we would have done. I don't think we would have gone on that walk had we not accidentally turned left instead of right.
I remember when we found that tattoo parlor, that's logo was like the Snake Eyes clan logo.
Yeah. That brilliant. Loved it. We also found a little corner that we considered opening up a shop in. Yeah. So, but so we found this place by accident and on accident, and we thought, let's do a photo. And we're like, Heather, please. And she's like, more than happy to. She's like, all right, guys, act natural. So we did. Who took the photo? That was Heather.
My lovely wife took the photo of this. I don't know what this pose I am. I've never done it before or after.
You know what it was? She goes, I want to get the plaque in the shot. So you're like, okay.
I was like, what am I doing? Why am I standing so weird? But she wanted to get the plaque in the shot. So that's right.
Correct. Yeah. He's getting limbered up for what would have been the epic walk around that we did at Joefest. How tall are you both? Well, I'm not tall. I'm very short.
Yeah, but, Chad's a giant, and I'm 6 foot on the nose.
I'm 5'9". So I'm under Adam. I look up to Adam. Hey, Daniel, how are you, buddy? He's just saying hi to me, Adam. You don't look at me.
I was going to wave, and I was like, oh, that's not to me.
That's not for you. But we get a thumb kiss from Gaz. That's for everyone. Good to see you, good bud. We got to see Gaz.
We got to see Gaz.
Now, I knew I wanted to see Gaz. But then when I did see Gaz, I didn't realize how much I needed to see Gaz until I saw Gaz.
Yeah.
the plaque pose. That sounds like a superhero name.
Plaque pose.
It's the alter ego. Plaque pose.
You make your teeth fall out.
The downtown area of Augusta is so nice. It is so nice. Super chill, walker friendly. Yes. Loads of great places to eat too. Yeah. I loved the town. It'd be a great retirement town. A lot of businesses were closed, but I imagine that was probably due to the pandemic.
So it was a bit of a weird thing for me getting to Joefest. So I met you on the Wednesday, right? Mm-hmm. So
you, buddy,
we hung out and had our epic lunch. But in reality, we only hung out for about 2.5 hours, 3 hours before we had to get back on the road to get where we needed to get for the evening. So on Wednesday, I met you. I'm like, this is it. Met Kelly and met Sarge. I'm like, in my mind, Joefest has started. And then the next day of driving with my lovely wife, we were a little more, but we met with Mark Hoffmeyer and Megan that next day for lunch. If you guys listen to Movies, Films, and Flicks, the podcast, I'm on there quite a bit. Mark Hoffmeyer, he was on the race video with us. He picked the Battle Ram, which was a terrible, terrible thing to pick on my race video. But he's an incredible guy. He's worked in film. He's become. I met him at a con in Toronto. He was running and became a great friend. So we met them on the afternoon on Thursday. But then I got to Augusta and checked into the hotel, but you hadn't arrived yet. You were taking the long route with Sarge.
Well, I went with Sarge. I went on a road trip with Sarge. We didn't get there until the evening, But then when we did get there, we went to Hooters.
Yeah.
So when you get the option to go to Hooters with the Sarge, you can't say no. You can't say no.
But it's like when you get to a party and you like, when's everybody else going to show up? So then Chad was in the hotel room, and his hotel room in the same hotel.
Well, we were in the same hotel, which I didn't want to anticipate.
Yeah, it was incredible. So he was like, "Hey, buddy," and it's like typical Chad. He's like, "Hey, buddy, we're gonna get some dinner." I was like, "Yeah, let's go get some dinner." He's like, "Okay," and then as people started coming and arriving and messaging, but he's like, "Okay, I'll be done as soon as I'm done uploading this video." And I don't know what internet he connected to, but I thought that meant like in 10 minutes. And it ended up being like an hour and a half of like,
oh dear,
which was okay because it gave time for like Crash to arrive and for Matthew Comstock to get there and Willem. So then Crash, Willem, Matthew Comstock, Chad, and my wife and I went out for dinner. Went to the pizza joint. And,
nice.
And Crash's buddy was with us as well, so we met people there and we tried to overtake the nerd trivia that was going on. They were doing like a trivia night.
Yeah.
They kept asking these questions via like, "It's called the Klingon bat lift." They just kept yelling answers. And so they didn't love that, but we did.
Oh no,
that's okay. So yeah, we had a great chat time going out for dinner and hanging out with those guys, and then you arrived at like 11:45.
It was very late.
So I was in my room with my wife. We were watching TV and just kind of like getting ourselves settled. And you got a text. You're like, "I'm at the hotel." And I was like, "Heather, I gotta go." And then ran up and then hung out with you and Chad till about 1:30 in the morning.
Yeah. We hung out. We did a hangout for sure.
And this was the next morning going for breakfast.
Right. Yes. Okay. There we are. So we're looking for breakfast
and we went to the Lush Mushroom or something.
I can't remember. I cannot remember. I think because I had some of that bourbon that Crash brought, that it took some memories away. But yeah, it was a great experience. And here's one of the experiences that we got to look at me looking. I've never looked so cool in my life.
Ever.
So I'm wearing the WWE T-shirt. I'm wearing the hat from Space Commander. I've got a shit-eating grin, and probably in some intestinal distress because the fanny pack is no longer around my waist. It's now it's slung over my shoulder.
You're going full Chewbacca.
Yeah, I've gone Chewbacca here. And I was like, okay, I can't. This is not going around my waist today. Not today.
Right.
But yeah, tell us about our experience. Now, I don't know how much you want to talk about because this was a great store.
So, GI Jason, we stopped. This GI Jason, follow him, go see, because I think he's going to deal with some kind of genie. Because we would go around and it was huge. But I think I bought the most things from G.I. Jason. But we would stop, look at his booth, look around, and I'd find one thing. I was like, "Oh, this is the one thing I want here." And him and his wife were lovely, and they cut great deals, and they were all about it. And so I bought the Sky Striker shell was the first thing I bought because Gaz found it. He walked in, he's like, "Here's that Sky Striker you were looking for." And so I think this year I'm going to do a Mobat. I'm going to do a signature on a Mobat. I think is going to be the
nice.
And what I want to do is I want to print a little bracket, a designer printed bracket for the front of a Mopat that will hold my phone and then get video footage of the Mobat driving around Joefest.
Yes, that's cool.
Right?
That's cool.
And I'll probably bring the little Zazel and the little Atom figures, and it'll be like us at Joefest.
Yeah.
Mobat.
Brilliant.
This was the first place that I bought something other than the Sky Striker show. And so I bought an APC in here and from his wife, and she called him. He was shopping somewhere else and said, "This is a deal." Yeah. So we got a deal. But every time we make a trip around, I'd stop there and find something else. Yeah. So I ended up buying a number of things. It became like a joke. Like we go around, we come buy one thing. We go around, we come buy one thing. That happened for like all 3 days of the show. So when we were getting people on the third day to sign the Sky Striker, when I cleaned it up, taped it off, I was like, we got to stop at G.I. Jason and get him and his wife to sign the Sky Striker to be part of the story because they were so integral in all my purchases.
Yep.
So,
well, I'll tell you this. I went to Joefest and I picked up one G.I. Joe, and that one G.I. Joe that I got came from G.I. Jason, and it was the is it called Battle Pack? Battle Talker? I don't think it's a talking one. The one with the sound backpack.
Yeah, the Sonic Fighter.
Yeah, I got a Sonic Fighter Law.
Nice.
From G.I. Jason's shop, and I did not anticipate not to be picking up a lot of G.I. Joes. I thought I would pick up a lot of G.I. Joes.
So I want to say, and now I bought a lot of stuff. Like I bought a lot of Joes. I came home with so many Joes, I had to redo my shelf and add a tier to it. And I feel like when you were in Canada, it was like the first day I was like, hey, we got to go and I got to rearrange my display. Like for me to have stuff that's not on display, like bothers me. It's like an OCD thing. So Zazel very, very joyfully came and watched me set up my display and helped me get some people's figures. But I will say, like, I didn't even buy as much as I thought. It was overwhelming. There's so much stuff there to digest.
Yeah.
Right?
But there was one place that was selling bucket loads of loose figures for so cheap.
$5. $5
loads. Right, but it's just like if you can find G.I. Joes by the bucket load this cheap, then you shouldn't be spending $20, $30, $40 for a figure somewhere else here. You know, it's like so I could not bring myself to, like, I saw a figure, I thought it was great, $30. I'm like, I just can't, because I've just seen a tub over there and they're like $1 to $5. I just can't do it. But I also realized that I didn't feel the need to pick up something just for the sake of picking it up.
Right.
If I saw something and I wanted it and I knew I could use it for like the Slaughterhouse Wrestling Championship or something, which is what I anticipate I'll use Law for, is I'll use him as someone for the SWC, maybe as like a big boss man type character. I'm not sure yet. But I was like, okay, this guy's cool. I'll pick him up. And it was a good price, so I picked him up. But I think for the most part, I was getting Cobra Clutch coins. I got a lot of Cobra Clutch coins. And a Cobra Clutch coin is something that you earn by getting a Cobra Clutch from the Sarge. So I got a Cobra Clutch coin for every day that I went there, because every day I got another Cobra Clutch.
You know when the local fair comes into town and you take your kids there and there's all these rides and they find one they really like. So like, I want to go on the Caterpillar coaster. So you put them on the Caterpillar coaster and they go around. And you're like, there's so much more to the fair. Let's go see it. And they walk around. There's all, I don't know, I want to go back to the Caterpillar coaster. You take them back to the Caterpillar coaster. Yeah. You're like, well, let's go get something to eat. And you're like, I just want to go on the Caterpillar. So you take them back to the Caterpillar. I felt that was you. You'd like walk around and like, I haven't got a Cobra Clutch in like 20, 25 minutes. I should get it.
I think I should just quickly go back and get one. I'm jonesing for another Cobra Clutch.
Can we just make a quick stop over here with the Cobra Clutch guys?
Yeah, you got any of them Cobra Clutches? But I did pick up. So instead of getting a lot of toys, which I didn't do, I did get a wrestling figure. I got the Honky Tonk Man. I got the Law, and I got a pirate figure that from Wilhelm Toys and also from Friendship. Me and him also picked up a pirate figure at a different location. Wasn't even at Joefest. But the things that I did do, other than collect memories and hugs from friends, was I went to people that I admired, and I got things like signatures. So I went to see Adam Riches, and I got a cool signature from him and a cool picture of the Sarge. And Adam Riches did the, amongst other things, like a load of other epic things, but he did do the art for the Sergeant Slaughter classified figure. Hey, it's Mikey. How are you, buddy? Good to see you. All good, my friend. All good. Good to see you anyhow. Thanks for popping in. Mike is another person that I really want to get to know as a person. Not just as usual Mike television. I want to get to know Mike as a person, have him hang out, and get to know him outside of just being a YouTube celebrity and an absolute legend and smashing that. But yeah, I'd like to hang out with Mike a bit more. but yes, I got the Mike on the brain. I got Adam Rich's signature, and we had a great conversation. And he was collecting, and I understood this mentality. He was army building the is it the Royal Guard from Cobra La?
I think so. Yeah.
Called the Royal Guard, or whatever the guard figure is from Cobra La. He was collecting those, and so I went and I found one to add to his collection because I thought that was a cool idea. So that was the only other GI Joe I bought. It wasn't even for me. And then, obviously hanging out with people like Gaz and Joe Rocondo and people that are hanging out here today, like Crash and so forth. There were so many people there that it was, and I still don't know how, like Hans and Gaz would be there 1 minute and then gone, disappeared. Yeah. Right? And so I said, where did they go? And then you'd see them like 100 feet away. They're like, how did they get down there so quick?
Yeah.
And then they'd be behind you. It's like, where did you do a lap or did I pass you?
Right.
That's a Skeletor, buddy. That's a Masters of the Universe head of Skeletor.
Take heads on Mo Tuesday.
Yeah. We took the heads
and legs. Take legs as well sometimes.
Oh, gross! Get out of here! Get out of here with that. I want to say, was it Will that gave us that? The Motu heads?
I believe so. Yes, the Motu heads.
Was it Will? Was it Will?
Will was it Joe?
Was it Joe?
Might have been Joe. Joe gave me a lot. I was overwhelmed by the generosity of Joe.
Joe had like show bags for people, catered to people. Yeah. I'm not sure if this is. It's one of those two. I apologize, I can't remember in this moment. But yeah, that was pretty cool. And this whole store was pretty cool.
Isn't it weird to you that I'm like looking behind the shelves and like, I wonder if that's going to be there this year. I wonder if I could buy that vamp this year.
Crash was stalking Ken. Mate, you got to get out more.
Yeah.
Get out more. Yeah, there was a lot of cool stuff there. And there was like a lot of cool stuff. And this place was, it was fairly priced in my opinion.
Very good.
I can see some Marauders vehicles on the side there.
So do you, I know this is going to sound strange for the guy with all the Sergeant Slaughters, but like, I was looking, I was like, oh, look at that Conquest. That's sweet. It was a good price. I'm like, but I have a Conquest. Like, I have a complete Conquest hanging from my ceiling. I'm like, yeah, but I could have two.
Yeah, imagine having two Dogfight. So this guy did have a mail away Sarge. One of my favorite things to do, I've gone on topic. He had some Sarge figures, but I passed on them. Weird, I know. But one of my favorite things to do was if you were looking for something like the Baroness, I would pick up, you go, okay, I'm looking for the OG Baroness. So I would pick up everything Baroness that wasn't even OG, like just Baroness, any version of the Baroness. Beach towel. Yeah, I was like, oh, I found the Baroness for you. And then once we did find you a Baroness and you bought it, I'd look for cheaper ones just to show you.
that drove me crazy. And it was when you found the cheaper one, I was like, stop showing me Baroness. And so the Baroness, this is the thing. I'll hear this right now. I paid, because I buy janky toys and fix them and look for deals. I paid more for the Baroness than I paid for any other action figure in my collection.
Right.
And I think I paid $50 for her complete with her file card, all intact, ready to go.
Which was great.
Which was a great deal until Azazel found one for $35 10 minutes later. And I was like, oh, come on.
Look at this one. This one's cheap.
That's 50 American, so it's probably 55. But I was like, oh, stop showing me Baroness figures. Get over it. But no, that was all part of the fun. And I remember making a decision. I'm like, okay, I'm going to pay money for this figure now. And I looked at you and said, I didn't drive all the way to Georgia to save money.
Yes, that is exactly how you justified any purchase.
Yeah.
There's a Defiant there behind my hat. Behind my ear. Imagine being able to pull that from behind your ear. There is a Defiant. There's some cool stuff.
Look at all the vamps. There's like 6 vamps down in the corner.
Yeah.
So my plan this year, because I'm going to Joefest again. You can't not go down to Joefest.
That's next year.
Yeah. So 2024.
This Joefest happened this year.
Right.
Isn't that weird?
It seems a lifetime ago.
It does.
But what I want to do is I want to make a device that I'm calling the vamp ramp, which will be a starting block that will hold 4 vamps. And then in hotel hallways or lobbies, I want to host a vamp drag race competition where anybody can enter a vamp, race them, and then there's a prize for the winner.
That's cool. A vamp ramp.
The vamp ramp races.
Cutthroat Comics is going to Joefest next year. Hell yeah.
Yep.
You're going to love it, buddy. Speaking of loving it, look at this. Look at this. Look at this lineup. So Joe Recondo had a bottomless esky of just, you name it, he had it.
Yeah.
Alcohol-wise. Crash, look at him. He said, look at that smile.
Crash, this was like at the end of the show, things were petering off. Kind of people's buying had teared down. Crash comes up, right before this photo, he's like, I got this G.I. Joe. Come, let's see if it's complete. So when I go to the lobby and take it out on a table and like look at all the pieces and see the condition, he's so excited about better rate. So I wanna expand that. We'll talk more about it. Kicks in the door.
How are you, Chow? Hans Chow. Chow.
But
he is Hans Chow, the biggest legend I've ever met. Hans Chow.
But with the vamp ramp, I would love it to get to a point where we have a time set up, kind of like in that karaoke time slot, or that like where people can come with custom vamps. The only rule is it has to have started as a regular OG vamp, like that model. So it could be like the Stinger, the Tiger, whatever. But you can bring custom ones, and we do prize for best looking vamp and prize for fastest vamp. Make it a big deal.
Okay. I'm in. I hear you. I'm gonna get a tattoo on my lower back, and it's gonna be a vamp tramp stamp.
A vamp stamp.
Yep, vamp stamp.
That's first prize. We take you down to the tattoo parlor and get you a vamp stamp.
Gotta get me a vamp stamp. So this happened. This is a bittersweet moment. I'm wearing my WWE polo shirt that the Sarge gave me, as well as hanging off the USA shades. I'm wearing down on the where my chest hair meets my ball throw, and then the hat, Space Commander hat. I was representing Space Commander. Kelly was representing Phil. Hans Chow was representing Sarge, and Megaforce represented by the legendary Gaz. Now you would think, was that where the representation stops? No, because Joe Recondo representing Boba Fett. He had the coolest Boba Fett sneakers. Boba Fett, where? That's
not Boba Fett sneakers, buddy.
The hell it isn't. What is it then?
Battle Cat sneakers.
Get out of town.
Those are Mo2 Battle Cat sneakers.
Well, he was definitely wearing Boba Fett sneakers at one point.
Yeah, so he started the weekend wearing Boba Fett sneakers, but this day I believe those were his Battle Cat sneakers.
Well, shows what I know.
Hold on.
I've lost my Mo Tuesday badge. Nice shoes. Oh, thanks, buddy. They're Battle Cat sneakers. All right, get out of here. All right, I'm out. You know what? Ordinarily, I would have been. I believe you, Adam. I can't believe you're going to be looking them up just to prove me wrong. I believe you. How cool they are. Look at this. Look at this jerk.
Actually, can I say something? Can I be very transparent with you? I just got a text.
Ooh.
I just got a text from a guy.
Yeah.
I think I'm closing the deal on a multi-bot.
No.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Right.
Okay. One of our biggest things that we were trying to do on Joefest was get modular.
No, it was multi-bot. It was multi-bot. I'm still looking for it. Yeah. And we're one step closer here.
Nice.
Yeah, look at these. Hold on, don't look at those. Look at these.
You were representing the Grey T-shirt Society.
Battle Cat sneakers.
Oh, hang on. Let me solo you. Whoop. Nice. Yeah, Battle Cat sneakers. Well done. What's happening here? How do I unsolo you? Not that I want to. Whoop. There we are. All right. I have been, Mega Beast. Yeah, but he was at one point wearing the other ones. I retract my statement for Boba Fett and substitute it with Battle Cat, which is ultimately, in my opinion, cooler. I think Battle Cat's way cooler than Boba Fett. Just throwing that out there.
Remember the one seller we went to who will remain nameless because we don't want to bash talk anybody.
Yeah.
But they had a lot of Motu stuff. And I said, hey, like I'm looking for a multi-bot. And he says, I don't have any complete ones right now. I said, well, you have any that are like near complete? Like I restore things. Like actually it'd be better if I could like, he said, no, I don't want to sell it if it's not complete. I got a couple that are missing one or two little connectors. I got a Modulok at Joefest. I sure did.
Yeah. But we were looking for Modulok. Not Modulok. We were looking for multi-bot. Gotcha.
Right. But he's like, nah, I couldn't. It'd be awesome if he had Cringer socks.
That's so good.
But he was like, I couldn't sell you one that's not complete. And I was like, I'd prefer it. And he's like, no, I'm not going to sell you one. So that
was so weird to see that interaction. I was like, do you not like money?
Yeah. Do you not know who I am? I'll fix it. Like the difference between that guy and the guy from 80s Toys who I was like, I'm looking for a canopy for a Sky Striker. And he's like, I got one, I think, in my janky bin in my car. And he found one and brought it to me that night in the hotel and was like, you just have that. Like there's a difference there.
Right. You know what? I'll say this about this photo before I move forward. This does not feel like the first time that we ever caught up with these beautiful human beings.
No.
This feels like we've reunited, not salutations. You know what I mean? I was like, it doesn't make sense.
Well,
I know that this is a photo of us all coming together for the first time, but it just didn't feel like that.
Well, remember when we were at Sarge's house, and about an hour into it, he said, "Okay, so like, when did you guys first meet? How long have you known each other?" And we were like, "This is the first time we've ever met."
Yeah.
Oh, no. Like, how long? When? I was like, "No, this is it. Like, we've never met before today."
Yeah. Even Heather was sort of like, you guys are interacting like you've known each other forever.
Yeah,
and it did feel like that. It was very casual. But sadly, I will move on from this photo. But
the golden age of friendship.
The golden age of friendship. There are a lot of people that aren't in this photo that I also consider friendship, and some of those people are in the chat today.
Yeah.
But even if we weren't in a photo, we definitely are in my heart. But then we left and got to Canada. This represents the exact moment Air Canada decided to give me back my luggage.
With a stoned Uber driver.
He was well stoned. He was still smoking.
I will say, there's, at least for me, I'm talking from my.
So Hans very expertly in his words, saying the moment simultaneously was the first time I met some of the greatest friends I have ever had, while also ushering in the loneliest solitude I've ever felt since. I hear you, which is why I think that while we were all incredible friends before and during this moment, I think afterwards that longing brought us even closer together in friendship. And I know without a doubt that we were all going to be seeing each other again. It's going to happen.
So, but here's the thing about Zazel coming to Canada. You know, when you're like in grade 9 or 10, and you go to you go to like a school dance,
Right.
and you see a girl that you want to ask to dance, but you don't know how to do that per se yet. And
Yeah,
so
not per se.
she kind of like hints at you a little bit, and like you kind of hint at her a little bit, and you both kind of like fumbly awkwardly. Eventually, by the end, right before the dance is over, you get dancing. Zazel coming to Canada was very much the situation, because he was like, I'm going to Joefest, and then I was like, I'm going to go to Joefest, and he's like, yeah, I'm going. You went up a week early, and it was great. And then, we were talking about meeting there, and I just realized that my son's legs are in that picture.
There he is, yeah.
And then you're like, hey, on my way home, I have a layover in Toronto for like 4 hours.
Yeah.
How close to your Toronto? I said, oh, Toronto's 40 minutes from me. I'll definitely come and hang out with you. And then I was like, how do I invite a guy to stay at my house for a visit after he's been in the States for 2 weeks? Like, how do we figure that conundrum out? That seems like a big ask. Like, hey, extend your vacation for a little while. And then you were like, yeah, I'll be in Canada. It'd be nice to see more of Canada. And so for about a week and a half, we kind of did this back and forth. And I was like, do you want to just come to my house? And you're like, am I allowed to come? I'm like, you come to my house as long as you want. And so then you came and stayed for a week. And, and I think, like, to me, there's something about meeting people and interacting with people and going. But when you have somebody in your home, in your space, it's something different, right? And so we were very, like, my whole family was just very excited to have you over and do that. And you want that experience as a person who's hosting to be the very best experience you could. And so, it was a little bit funny that we hung out with you for the weekend, and then we said goodbye on Sunday, but Tuesday morning we're picking you up. So we only not seen you for like a day. Yeah. We're like, my wife and I go to the airport, we get a big Canadian flag, wanted to have this big moment of you coming off the plane, being like, welcome to Canada. But what happened was we got texts from Zazel saying, like, I'm stuck in the baggage area. I don't know how long I'm going to be. And so it was like 3 hours of waiting. To the point where my wife's like, I'm folding up this flag because this is no longer a fun experience for Zazel. And then we got the realization that they had lost your luggage. Right? And so then there was this, we were happy to have you, and you were safe and you were healthy, but you almost couldn't relax and enjoy it because you're like, all of my stuff is elsewhere. Yeah. And they didn't know where it was. Now I wasn't panicking at first, right? Now in this bag, in this luggage is everything that I bought at Joefest, everything that I got signed by Sarge, all of my Cobra Clutch coins, plus things that people had given me. I'd sacrificed some things and dumped it so that I could fit extra stuff in there that I took from Joefest. And then it was gone. Right. But even then I wasn't panicking yet. Right. I wasn't panicking yet because I was like, well, it's got to be somewhere. Right. But then the guy next to me. So they didn't just lose my luggage. There was actually several pieces of luggage that were lost. And when the baggage arrived, it was actually in a van filled with like a lot of other luggage that got lost. Right. So at first I'm not panicking. I'm like, okay, they haven't just lost my bag, which would be difficult to find. Right. One bag. But if they have lost several pieces of luggage, that means that they're just sitting somewhere and they accidentally left all of it, right? I'm like, okay, I'm fine with that. But then someone next to me goes, this happened to me last year. I never got my bags back. This is, and I'm like, no, I don't need to hear that. Right. And then it didn't show up until like I think first day, no luggage. Second day, no luggage. Third day, night. Thursday night, yeah. That night, the luggage showed up. Yeah. And then we relaxed a little bit. And yes. Yeah. Not that it's not that we weren't having a good time. We were having a good time. But there was just this overarching, like, ooh, this little uncomfortable. And I made... I still got it. They found it. I made the funniest and meanest joke of my life to Zazel. So hang on before you get into that. I'm gonna no, it's all right. I won't get up and I was gonna go get my Mega Force shirt, but I won't. I've got it, buddy. Next show I'll wear it. I love that shirt. I haven't even worn it once, but I have it in my room on a hanger.
I only hang the shirts I like. That shirt's on a hanger, sitting there, hanging up, and I look at it every day. I love that thing, and I appreciate you, buddy. Thanks for that. But also, Will is here. We was talking about you earlier, Will.
Only good things to say about this guy.
He's having a sneaky peek. Thanks for checking it out, buddy. Have a tremendous day at work. Working on the weekend. Everybody's working for the weekend, buddy. Not on the weekend.
Listen to your music better, Will.
All right. So anyway, the pants I'm wearing soon became my favorite pants because Heather found them for me. I'm sure that's my jumper or my hoodie that I was wearing on the plane.
Right.
And we're probably wearing a t-shirt that I found I don't even think I found a t-shirt at Walmart, did I?
No, you chose no. But Heather brought you some stuff home from the store.
Right.
That she works
Canada socks, underwear, the most comfortable underwear I've ever owned.
Thanks, Heather. The Saks is where it's at, isn't it?
They're so good. They are so good. Saks are where it's at. But yeah, you know what? This was the day that you made that dreaded joke that you're about to explain.
Yeah. So what we're doing right now is this is the first day. He came off the plane 3 hours before this, and we drove to my wife's baseball game, which was a whole situation because the whole team does not swing at the first pitch, and Zazel didn't understand that. And he was like, "Would you guys just try?" It was very funny. I finally had a kindred spirit who was like, "That's what I've been saying for years. Just swing away, swing away." Swing away. But we were sitting here catching up, having a grand old time, and then I blurted out, "Zazel, there's your luggage." And I don't know why he bit me. He's like, "What?" And I said, and I pointed to the sky, and their plane was flying overhead.
This bloody Air Canada plane flying overhead, and he has the audacity to point out and say, "There goes your luggage." So if it looks like I'm unimpressed, it's because, I was not impressed. He goes, "Quick, let's take a selfie now."
I want to memorize this moment.
What a jerk. See you, buddy. Thanks for dropping in.
No, it was good. And I think that started a very familiar camaraderie while you were in Canada. And we did a thing for your Canadian experience where lots of people, when they come to a vacation spot, the person hosting will be like, have a bunch of things planned. Here, we're gonna go and do a bunch of cool things. And I was like, I just want to experience like a week in the life of us in Canada. We're just going to kind of do our daily week, and you're just going to be part of it, part of the family. And I think that was what led to some of the organic fun that we had.
Mate, it was first of all, this was probably the coldest day that we experienced in Canada. Was the first day.
Yeah.
But going around because we weren't sure if the baseball was going to be playing.
Right, because it was so grungy.
It was raining. It might have been rained out. It had the coach. Was it a coach? No, not the coach. The umpire.
Shuffles.
The ump was the most he was uninterested in the game entirely, and I didn't even know how we were standing on 2 feet, to be honest. Yeah. The answer is yes.
We did.
We had a glorious time going to Toys R Us. We went with the family, in fact, and it was a great day.
Yeah, my boy got the Snake Eyes Timber 2-pack, the classified 2-pack.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Was that the same day we went to Ron? To the Ron?
No, we went to Ron the next day.
Of course. We'll have to go through. We'll go through that story too when we get to it. But this was great. This was a great first experience. Getting to know Adam's sense of humor or lack thereof. And another thing that I got to experience, you might be looking at this and going, what's going on here? Well, this is the $1 Million Ram Man. And so to backtrack a little bit, I was going to pick up a Ram Man, not Ram Man.
Goldberg.
I got the parts from Ken Poe. He gave me the Masters of the WWE Universe Brock Lesnar. Was it Brock Lesnar?
It was Goldberg.
Goldberg? I don't know the later guys. So Goldberg came with this armor, right?
Debuted in '97.
It's not the golden era for me, right?
Newer
Whoever
guy.
it was, Goldberg.
30 years ago.
Yeah, $1 million, 15 years ago. So I picked up. I was going to pick up because I wanted this guy, and I saw him at Joefest for ridiculous money, right? And I was like, oh, do I get it? Do I get it? Right? But then I was like, no, I'm not going to bother. But I was having FOMO for sure. But then we went, hey, Drew G, how are you, buddy? Now, if you're showing up to the chat, please leave a like button. It helps, makes me feel liked. Anyway, so we ended up going to Walmart, and Kelly drove us out there. And then I found one on the shelf for way less. And then I took it to your house, and we started opening up action figures. And I'm putting this guy together, and you go, I'm going to make a belt. And I'm like, what? You know, I'm going to make a belt. I'm going to make a belt for this guy. So I got to watch The Master. Now, I've put the link to Adam's channel in the description, and there's no way anyone here right now isn't already subscribed to Adam's channel. I'm sure everyone here already is, but if you haven't, please go do, because what he does, I would consider to be modern magic, the stuff that he does. And to be able to watch him design this belt that you're seeing right here is not a stock standard belt. That is created by the legendary Adam from Gofigure. And I mean, I knew he did good work, but when I put the armor on this guy, I was like, okay, this is pretty cool. But then watching you design this, print this, and paint it, it was like it tied it all together. But it was also like being in a Gofigure video, and even though we did the Sky Striker video, another thing you guys should check out is that Sky Striker video. If you haven't seen that one already, I love that video. It was such a great day, watching the behind the scenes how it all happened. But you look at that, and I mean, I thought that was pretty cool before the belt was on it, but and I'm not. Now, I'm not easily impressed, but I thought this was pretty cool. But the belt just tied it together, and it looks appropriate. It looks like the belt. You did such a tremendous job that perfect. See, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm telling you.
Oh, you guys are kind.
Well, it's just true.
I just like playing with toys.
This is also a great video, the Thundercats one. Every video Adam does is magic. It's magic. So having seen Adam's magic in real life, putting together the $1 Million Ram Man was just another fantastic experience for me. But the experience is, thanks Todd. Todd's bringing me coffee. Oh, just dropped coffee in my lap. Oh, that was toasty. Kiss Fest. I wish. A lot of people went in for hugs, but not a lot of people were going in for kisses. I tried. I did try. Cap out the box.
It seemed like he was going, but then he's at the last minute dodged to the side.
Let's talk about this day.
So
now, to the uneducated, this is wrestling. Now, to the people that don't know, there is something that's happened here that we're going to dive into. You might not see it yet, but Adam's going to point it out and explain this whole thing.
So we took Zazel to a Canadian independent wrestling show, and we both love wrestling. It was great. It was a great fun with the kids. We took the whole family. We've gone to lots of we love it. Now, the guy in the black trunks getting slammed is a local Canadian wrestler named Tarek. And if he's not in one of the big companies in the next year, I'll eat my hat. He is nothing but pure talent. I was very excited about him. Zazel seeing him wrestle because he just does a great job. He's just effortless in the ring. And so the gentleman he's wrestling, they started doing the Warrior Hogan crisscross spot where they crisscross the ropes. And what happened was the gentleman in the golden trunks went to do a leapfrog over top of Tarek. And what happened was Tarek went face first. The guy didn't get high enough. He went face first and took right in the crotch. His head snapped back, and we were all very concerned about Tarek's neck.
Right.
Until Zazel, in his very unmistakable Australian accent, in a room full of Canadians, says, "His doodle's broken." And what happened was broke his doodle. The blood stain you see at his crotch there,
yes,
got progressively bigger and bigger throughout the match. But like a legend, they got wrestled for 8 more minutes like that.
He kept wrestling. Now, I don't know if you can tell, but yeah, this guy has broken his doodle, and there is a wet patch that's happening that was getting bigger. A big red stain in the front of his gold.
And so he'd slam him down.
That's what it's called.
Go to the corner and check. He'd tap it, and he was very nervous.
At one point, he looked down and he goes, "Uh-oh," and he looked right at me. And I was like, "Are you okay? Do you need to stop?" He's looking right at me.
He's like, "If you stop wrestling, we'd understand."
Throw in the towel.
Give us a love.
Let us know if it's okay. And then at one point, I was like, "Is it cock or balls?"
Yeah, there's a lot of things being yelled out, which I don't know if you guys are aware, but Zazel is infectious and contagious. So the Canadian fans, once that ice was broken about you can make jokes about what's happening here.
Yeah, it was all
went full out on it. So I don't know if this guy's ever going to wrestle again, just with the embarrassment that we caused him from there.
Out of all the videos that they've shown on YouTube of all these matches, this match is not available to watch.
They won't show it. But the
maybe because it's me in the background going, "You broke his doodle."
The two best things about it, though, look at him go, just going for it.
Still, look at that intensity. That there is the dedication to complete the match, and also the fear that he's torn his banjo string.
Right, and you don't know. You just see a red spot. You don't know what the damage is. You don't know. But
you don't know. When he looked down and then looked back up again, that was genuine fear in his face.
Yeah. Now, do you have the image of Tarek's back?
Do I have the image?
Do you have that? Oh, that's where there's a little speech happening there.
Now, we probably shouldn't have been doing snapshots of this man's crotch.
I stand by my decision.
Yeah, he just snapped his banjo string.
Right. But there was a lot of
Cocoa balls.
Yeah.
Look at that. It looks like he's smuggling a cricket ball in there.
Something.
He's tapping it there, going, "Oh God, oh God."
What have I done?
Yes, Adam, there it is.
So there's Tarek, and you can see the evidence all upon his back, where the guy jumped on his back. And he then, at this moment, after he won, took the mic and said to the crowd, "Well, I promised you a ball-busting match." It was something that we just lost it. And so Zazel, in utter disbelief, so the lights come on, and usually there's autographs and stuff after. It was a real let's get out of here kind of moment that we felt. And so Zazel, out loud, as we're leaving, says, "I have never seen anything like that before." And it just so happened that the promoter heard it. And because he's got to keep on promoting, he says to Zazel, "Oh, no. This kind of stuff happens all the time. It's just run of the mill." Zazel says, "That's run of the mill. That happens all the time." And, "Yeah, we got a nurse. It'll be fine. He'll be fine." And I said, "Oh, I've never. And then we just laughed for the next 2 hours driving home.
So it was on. The conversation would not stop. Now, we thought at that time, that the most we were going to talk about was the fact that I was yelling out "Aussie, Aussie, Aussie," and the Aussies in the ring that were wrestling, a pair of Aussies in the ring, come back out with the "Oi, oi, oi," right, and then backwards and forwards as they do, and you're like, "What is happening?"
Yeah, all the Canadians were like, "Why are they yelling? Is this guy a mark in the And actually, I said it would be very funny if you wore your WWE polo,
Yeah.
had a clipboard and kept taking notes.
Yeah. I wish I had. I wish I had.
Moment. Who is that guy taking notes? That would have been a great moment too.
Yeah, it's bad enough that you broke someone's banjo, but then to be stained on the back by the blood of your victim, it's like, come on.
That's real Vlad the Impaler stuff.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Poor boy. Boy.
But hats off to
There
those
it
guys.
is.
Match.
Oi. So we thought that the most exceptional thing we're ever going to see was an interaction between an Aussie in the crowd and an Aussie in the wrestling ring, which to me, that was like, okay, I'm pretty proud of that moment. But then to be able to call out the words, he's broke his doodle, to the eruption of the crowd. And it really did open up a dialogue for everyone now, because it was deathly quiet.
Yeah,
because we were watching in anticipation. Because we saw what happened and it looked painful, but it looked more painful to the person that
the neck,
right?
Yeah. And when you see a botch in a wrestling match, it's uncomfortable because nobody wants anybody to be hurt, right? Nobody wants that. And so it happened and people got quiet. And that's why I think it went unnoticed, because we were all watching Tarek. We were all watching Tarek to be like, is he okay? Is his neck, because neck injuries are rough. And and you don't want to be there and be like, I was there when the guy ended his career. Like we don't want that, especially for a talent like Tarek. I love, like, the guy's so smooth.
Yeah.
When the attention got turned onto the guy with the banjo, the broken banjo.
Yeah. Broken banjo string, yeah.
There was a levity in the room when you're like, yes, Tarek's okay. This guy is not, but he's wrestling, so it can't be that bad, but it looks real bad.
It looked real bad. And the more it went on, the worse it looked, because that red dot became like exponentially bigger by the end.
Well, we debated at first. You're like, he's bleeding from his doodle. I was like, there's no way. That's not what that is. And then it got bigger and bigger, and Grayson's like, it is, Dad, it is.
The best show on earth, man. Oh, it was amazing.
But hearing an Oshawa crowd chant, broke your doodle. I was like, you've left an impression here, sir. I
have a few proud moments in my life, but that was definitely one of them. To be able to chant both Aussie, and broke your doodle and get some reaction, man, loved it. Yeah. But we can't talk about. First of all, I want to say, and I don't want. I should have said this earlier. I want to say it now before we get to the end of the show. But I do want to continue on and talk a little about the Ron experience. But before I do go any further, I do want to say thank you, a deep felt and sincere thank you for allowing me to come and stay with you and your family, because your family are just absolutely beautiful. You welcomed me to a point where I felt like I was at home. I did not feel like I was an intruder in someone's house. Now you can feel uncomfortable in somebody else's house. I felt so comfortable. Like I was like, I might just become a problem. I might never leave.
That wouldn't be a problem. It's actually so. I appreciate that, and we strive to like make people feel welcome in our home. That's our thing, and we have a rule where we invite you over the first time, but after that, like just come over anytime. Like you're invited. But we wanted you to be like meet our friends like Tara and the cafe and like our church folks and like be part of what we're doing, right? But to the point where now my kids know where you live. They have an understanding of the globe, but they'll just at some point be like, when's Zazel coming over next? And I was like, well, he's in Australia, so probably not anytime soon.
It might be a while. Not never.
Right.
But not, I can't just drop over. But your kids were great. They had some informative conversations. They were always ready to make me a cup of tea. I was like, you want a cup of tea? I make you a cup of tea. You want a cup of tea? I was like, I'll have a cup of tea. Yeah, let's do it. And Heather was very lovely. She not only saved me with a pair of pants, but also introduced me to the notion of a bag of milk. Bag of milk, which was great. We also had one moment. Now, this was probably one moment where I felt like, oh, okay, I'm a little uncomfortable now, but in a funny way. Is we were watching a TV show, and I thought this TV show was like you were like several episodes in and knew everything that was going on. And I had never seen this show in my life, so I have no idea what's going on, right? So partway through this show, I'm like, who is this guy and what's happening? And then Heather's like, we don't know either, Zazel. We're watching it for the first time as well. And I'm like, oh, okay. All right. Okay, oh, sorry. I thought this was an ongoing program. I thought I was coming in late. Okay, we're figuring this out together. Okay, all right.
You think I got a crystal ball over here?
You think I can just, you want me to just fast forward to the end for you, mate? A bag of milk? What's a bag of milk?
I'll be right back.
He's going to go get himself a bag of milk. See, now I feel like I should have gotten up and gotten my T-shirt. But I will do a bit of show and tell. If you don't know who the RetroTinker is, and you should, he created some really cool things for me. Check it out. Kablamo, some medallions. This one is the Mario, and this one is my childhood hero, Sergeant Slaughter. Now, he dropped a video today. Do go check that out. It's very good. Restored a excellent looking retro car. Check that out one time, won't you? Also check out TJC's channel. He was on Incoming Transmission with me and Space Commander, and he's really knocking it out of the park with his video games. I actually go back and watch the Gears of War stuff because I loved Gears of War when I was when those games came out. So it's good to go back and watch those stories again. Adam's back with a bag of milk.
You got to see it, because if you're not from Ontario, you won't understand this. But in Canada, it's just one province in Canada. When you come to Ontario, you got to buy yourself a jug like this.
Yeah.
You got to have one of those, and then you buy your milk in bags like this.
What?
That's how.
What?
That's how we buy our milk here. You take it.
Yep.
And then you cut that there, and that's how you do your milk in Canada.
Weird, but I loved it. I loved it. I was like, I don't know what's happening, but I love it.
Yeah, that's
it's very cool.
That's how we get it done.
Yeah. It was a Peter Brock car. Check that out on the RetroTinkers. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. What? A bag of milk? Bonkers. Absolutely bloody bonkers, mate.
Right.
So after some time there, you took us on a road trip, and
so we love going on big hunts. Me and my kids.
I want to just say this real quick, just to paint a picture. Where Adam lives, the town that he lives, filled with beauty people, just absolutely gorgeous surroundings. Everyone is just, it's like a commercial for like best town ever. Right? And then we leave this perfect Serenity town. Oh, here we go. Is it possible to use the wrong jug? And what are the consequences?
So if you use a regular juice pitcher or a round jug, your bag will move around. But this bag is pretty in there, right? Like it's ergonomically correct to hold that bag.
Fair enough. It looks like a goon bag, but with milk. Now, so we get out of this beautiful town that I am seriously considering moving to and spending the rest of my life in, to a whole different town. And when we got to this town, I was like, this is not the same. This is not as advertised.
Every situation has a lowest common denominator, if you will. But there's a town in my province that is a little bit rough, but has great vintage toy stores in it. And so you kind of take the good with the bad. And so it's we went there, and Zazel was like, that guy's only wearing one shoe. I was like, yeah, that's what happens. That's what happens here.
But did he lose one, or did he find one?
That's the question. And we saw another guy had a mixed match pair of shoes, and I was like, yep, that happens here. Like, it's a whole. I did take it.
That's exactly what happens. It was like something has happened in that town, and something bad happened, but no one wants to talk about it. So it's something has happened there.
Yeah,
But it was a one-stream man.
It's got a bunch of cool little toy stores. One I go to quite a bit. And actually, I had told the story to Zazel. Actually, I told it to Sarge, too, when we were at his house.
Yep.
And I was like, yeah. So I went to this toy store, and I mentioned, I was looking for G.I. Joe vehicle parts. And said, I just made an upgraded slaughter tank. And, my buddy who kind of knows him, we reviewed it together, and he says, oh, I know Ron quite well. I said, what? He's like, when he comes to Canada, I'm his driver. I know Ron quite well. And I was like, I don't think his name is Ron. So, okay. Right. And so you don't make the guy feel bad. You're just like, oh, interesting. Yeah. And he's like, yeah, I'm his driver when he comes to Canada. We're pretty close.
Right.
He doesn't let anybody else call him Ron. They all got to call him Sarge. I get to call him Ron. So I was like, when I went to his house, I was like, so Sarge, is there a guy in Canada that you call you Ron? And he's like, what are you talking about?
He had no idea.
So I thought it was like a one-off funny anecdote is what I thought.
Right.
So we go to the store and we're looking around, and I'll say, inventory wise, the store is great.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Great stuff, decent prices, and as far as Joe goes, I think he had every Joe there complete, ready to go.
He was very proud of that display.
Yeah, and so in there though was a Joe Con 2006 carded slaughter on the gung ho body, and so Zazel's eyeing it up, and it's signed,
right?
And he says, "Yeah." And I didn't take any prompting. It was like if I would have wrote a script, it couldn't have happened better. And he goes, "Yeah, he signed that, Ron?" And the look of confusion on Zazel's face, because he thought, and stop me if I'm wrong here, but you thought the same thing I did. Ron Rudat didn't do that art. Yeah,
why would Ron Rudat be signing this card art? So I'm like Ron. And he's like, yeah, that's his real name, Ron. It's like, Ron? Is he saying Ron? He's like, yeah, Ron. I was like, Ron? And not knowing that I just spent a weekend hanging out with the Sarge at his house and then at Joefest, not knowing that I had any interaction with Sarge at all, not knowing that I am the biggest Sergeant Slaughter fan and probably best friend of Sergeant Slaughter, much older hero. He has the audacity to say, Ron signed that. So I'm like, is this a bit? Has Adam set this up? Is this a bit? But I couldn't for the life of me. And here's the thing, right? There's more to it, to the story, we'll get onto that in a moment. But for me, I didn't want to tell him his name's not Ron, right? His real name is Robert Remus, Sergeant Slaughter, not Ron, right? But it's an easy mistake to make, right? Ron, right? So I was going to give him the benefit of the doubt. And I'm like, Ron, his real name's Ron? And he goes, yeah. And he was, bam, yes, I know this fact. And I'm like, okay, all right. And then I decided in that moment that I'm not going to switch that up, right? Somebody else may one day, right? But I wasn't going to be the guy today to go, well, actually, right? I wasn't going to be that guy because I wanted to live in this little world for a moment and just see what happens.
Right.
Just see what happens. And it continued. The stories continued. Right. And I already knew, is there a rare Ron variant? Yeah, it was signed. It was there. So I knew that this was the guy that you had said previously had a claim to being Sarge's driver or whatever, right?
Right.
But it's one thing hearing your experience. It's another thing to experience a whole other thing from the same person and have your interaction and be in. I
have been not accused of, but maybe accused is the word, of embellishing stories. I'll tell a story and people are like, there's no way that you're exaggerating. That can't actually be what happened. And a number of times in my life, my friends have been found themselves in the middle of one of my adventures. And I guess this stuff does happen to you. I guess you just fall. Morning, Myron. How are you?
Good. You?
Excellent.
Good morning.
Good morning.
We were a buddy of mine called me up one day, and he'd been in Canadian television, and he's like, "Hey, what are you doing Saturday night?" And I was like, "Nothing." He's like, "Hey, can you come with me? I need some help with something." And I was like, "Sure, no problem." And he's like, "Do you have any buddies that can come help?" And I was like, "Sure." So I called my buddy Phil, and I was like, "Hey, Phil, can you come and help with me on Saturday night?" And that's Myron. And
Hi, Myron.
he's like, "Yeah, sure, I can come help you." I said, "What are we doing?" I said, "I don't know, just Steve needs some help." So then we end up driving into Toronto, and so we're on the way there, and Steve's like, "Yeah, so it's a Electric Circus reunion tonight," which was like a Canadian dance program from Toronto.
Right.
And he's like, "Yeah, so like Freedom Wallace is going to be here, and the Real McCoy. I need you guys to like floor produce and film this for TV."
So that's cool.
30 minutes later, we're in this like production meeting for this television show, and my buddy Phil goes, "You don't make this up. This stuff just happens to you." I was like, "Yeah, it just happens to me. And he's like, "Yeah, where we go?" So then Phil's got a headset on, he's like directing in the back, and it was hilarious.
So I'm living one of those experiences for myself in this place that already was a pretty cool place, but then to have this weird, and when someone is boasting to the point that he was, right, absolutely chuffed at the fact that he was this person, but getting one intricate detail so wrong, it just made it so delicious. You know what I mean? Like, I could have believed anything he said up to that point, because I don't know, right? He could be the guy that drives around Canada. I don't know, right? But because he was so convincing in what he was saying, right? I was almost convinced his name was Ron. It was like, this guy believes it with such sincerity that I was starting to wonder, is his name Ron? Am I getting it wrong?
Right.
Is it Ron?
Has he been working the whole time?
Do I know this man? But it was like I didn't want to break it. You know what I mean? I didn't want to break the reality of it. And he seemed so happy in that moment as well that I didn't want to embarrass him either. Right. Like, I was like, okay, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to embarrass this guy, because not only that, but what if he didn't believe me? Right? What do you mean? Yeah. What if someone named Ron answered?
That's like the fake Carolyn Dawn Johnson's also Ron.
Yeah, I wonder. It might catch on. It might catch on. Yeah, we had our own Seinfeld adventures. It's like nothing happened, but everything happened at the same time. It was a reception. So RonCon is a thing now that we want to get started, where we just about our Ron experiences. But it was such a unique experience, and I knew because I saw your face. You're like, oh yes, the magic is happening. Yeah. This is the best, right?
But I look eye contact with you. If I look at Zazel, I'm gonna break. Like I'll lose it.
But and I know, and you know that I know that his name's not Ron. Yeah. And we know this whole thing is happening, but we're letting it happen. We're letting this experience, we're letting him have his story and his moments. And the story just kept going. You know, like I've got his personal number. You know, whenever he's in town, he calls me. I drive him around. He only lets me call him Ron.
I make sure that, people keep their distance, and like I take care of them. And you were like, what's that entail? Like, what's being his driver mean? Like, what are all the responsibilities?
But yeah, I asked follow-up questions. I was like, oh, what does that mean? What does that mean for you? What does your day look like when you're doing that? Trying to get more and more story from this man. And now I'm not saying that he's never had any interaction, right? No. He may have once in his life driven around Ronbert Remus.
Thank you, Hans. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I think it should happen in that toy store for sure.
I think RonCon should happen, but not tell them.
No, we just show up with RonCon t-shirts
and badges and stuff. We got the VIP pass.
Yeah. And I get driven around by this guy. Oh, it's a late one, buddy. Sorry. Thanks for hanging out, bud. I appreciate it. If you guys haven't seen Keep On Collecting's channel, it is the best father-son duo on YouTube. And these two guys talk about literally everything, stuff that I'm not even aware of sometimes. I was like, I didn't even know that was a toy. Great Aussie blokes, absolute legends. And I'm happy that I get to call them friends. So thanks for hanging, buddy. Was there a search for Sasquatch? Well, we didn't actually. So that was our plan, Adam. But we didn't actually, in the end, we didn't have to. Because independently, we each found Sasquatch in some way, form, or fashion on our way to Joefest.
Before we met, we both found Sasquatch.
Yeah, we did. We found him in the end.
Yep. In your Welcome to Canada package, there was a little Sasquatch memento that we found for you.
Yes. But yeah, I honestly felt like I was living in an alternate reality. He was so believable that I started to just believe something somewhere had happened, must have, right? But if you're going to tell a story, and you're welcome, mate, it's not a shout out. It's not a shout out. You know what that is? It's friendship.
Boom.
Friendship. Two different things.
Did you know that you could have a ship made of gold or a ship made of platinum, but the best ship is the friendship?
Ooh, I like that one. That's a good one. Put that on a mug.
Done.
So the thing about it is, and I'll finish up the Ron conversations that he knew he was so invested. Cutthroat Comics has also got a run. Good to see you, buddy. Thanks for hanging in there. Take care, Daryl. You're welcome, man. Thanks for hanging out. I know a guy named Daryl who does Sergeant Slaughter's Slaughterhouse. Best friends with Ron.
I get to call him Daryl. Everybody else calls him Sergeant Slaughterhouse.
Yes, Sergeant Slaughterhouse. Yes, Hans. Yes. So to just finish off the Ron conversation, he was so invested in this conversation, and it was so convincing that it almost seemed mind-blowing that he got one crucial part so wrong. To say that you are so close with someone and get their name wrong to the guy, he doesn't know who I am. He doesn't know that I know Sergeant Slaughter, and a fan of Sergeant Slaughter, and he's my hero, right? Needs to go on a shirt, yeah. But that situation in itself was so magical that I'm glad that it happened, and I'm glad that I didn't do anything to stop it from happening. I let it be, and I showed genuine interest in what he was saying because I was genuinely interested to know where it was going.
You were more interested than anybody's ever been, and you could see he went into sales mode after once he said, "This guy's listening to my Ron story." He was like, "Okay, you see, these are the boxes. This is mint seal condition. This is mint complete. This is mint." And he just like went to the entire store, all excited.
He was, and he wasn't just, he was showing us around. He was giving us like a personal tour of his shop.
VIP treatment.
Yeah. Not a bad bloke. Not a bad bloke.
Ron level service.
So exactly. We got the Ron tour. But one of the things that impressed me the most about being there was the fact that your daughter was into it as much as your son, which you wouldn't anticipate, and your son's ability to get a good bloody deal.
He does bargain. So not the Ron guy, but the other guy who worked there, who if I said to 100 people, draw a picture of a comic store guy, they would draw exactly this guy. Exactly. But very nice guy, a little awkward, but very nice. Sure. The next time he went, so we've been back there since.
Yeah.
And so my son is in grade 10, and he's in grade 10, and he's been studying martial arts for years. He's actually, you like wrestle with your kids. I don't wrestle with him anymore because he's bigger, stronger, and faster than me. The guy's like a weapon. So I just don't engage. So we're there, and so he finds these figures. He's been looking for some DC Universe classics, some rare ones. he says, okay, well, how much for these? And there's 3 he wanted. One was very expensive, and 2 the guy wanted 40 each for. So Grayson, I don't know. He says, nah, I'll do 60 for both. And the guy says, oh, I don't know, I can't do 60 for both. And Grayson does the great thing, goes, okay, no problem. And he walks away. He just says, okay. And so the guy comes out and he says, oh, okay, we'll do it, but you gotta twist my arm so I can tell my boss you twist my arm. Grayson doesn't understand you twisted my arm, because he's not from 1950. Like he's not buying like at a livestock auction. And so Grayson's like, what? And the guy like puts his arm, he's like, you gotta twist my arm, like you gotta twist it so I can say my boss you twisted my arm. And Grayson looks at me and goes, what? Like wrenches the guy, and the guy's like, oh, like, goes to the floor. He's like, I didn't know you were gonna hurt me. He's like, I don't know what's going on here. Can I just have my toys now?
Breaks a guy's arm. Oh, yeah. That's why I didn't say you're pulling my leg, because he may have.
No, but that's the guy who, and you experienced it every time I go there. I go there often.
Yeah,
I've shot videos there. If you go to my YouTube channel, you can see me doing a toy hunt there. Every time I go in there, hello, sir, where are you from?
Yeah, he never recognized you.
Never at all.
I think another thing that was hilarious for me was that you're not wrong, bud. You're not wrong. If you're thinking comic book guy, you're not wrong. You are absolutely not wrong. But for me, something that happened, I found a Joe that I wanted. So I found the Sergeant Savage Desert Camo version, and I only wanted the figure. Yep, Gaz is right there. Correct. Ron Con will have a squatching event. You are not wrong, Larry. So I saw it was for a good price, better than I thought. I think it was like $10, right? $10 Canadian for the Sergeant Savage Desert, and he was from. I think he was also a Joe Con exclusive.
Yeah, he was a Joe Con exclusive because he was in a bag.
Right, and the figure was neither here nor there for me, right? I literally only got it because it comes with a helmet, and the head on Sergeant Savage is the right size for Sergeant Slaughter, so his helmet fits perfectly on him. And I had the green version of it, and it's got the symbol on it for Sergeant symbol on it.
Sergeant insignia.
It does. Yep, it does need its own show. I would watch it. But this one has the same helmet. So I've got one in green with the Sergeant insignia on it. This one came in brown. So I literally bought a figure for one brown helmet, which is a weird thing to say out loud. I bought a brown helmet. Now, I didn't actually buy it, did I, Adam? I couldn't buy it. They would not take my...
gallery dues are no good here, sir.
They wouldn't take... This is the first time I'd been somewhere where because up until that point, I was just tapping my card anyway.
Well,
but they wouldn't...
Up until that point, I was trying to buy you food. I was trying to buy you clothes. I was trying to be a welcoming host in Canada. And to the point where we would push each other away from the tills at places. Zazel's pushing me away, and I'm he's like Stampy the elephant. And so when they were like, no, it's not working, I was like, finally, I get to buy you something. So I bought you a brown helmet.
Thanks, bud. I appreciate it.
Anytime.
But I couldn't believe it. My card wouldn't work. My international card, whatever they're called, I got it right here, in fact. I wonder if there's any money still loaded on there. I need to check out that.
What's the number on there? I'll pick it up for you.
My travel money currency pass card did not work, and the only cash I had on me was American cash. I had no Canadian money. I did get some Canadian. You guys gave me some Canadian money, and not because I was poor, but because it's cool.
Because our Canadian money is made of plastic. It's incredible.
Yeah, it's very cool. But yeah, if you were finally yes, this is my moment, and then you were I'm just going to go ahead and buy my buddy this action figure. It was great.
Yeah, no, it was a great time, great figure hunt. We loved doing it. And then we went to so it's I think the only place in Canada where it's a vintage toy store. And then next to it is another vintage toy store, but a much different experience.
Two very different experiences from those two places. Hans Chow, you win a prize. Doo-doo-doo. He's figured out there's a disgusting, bloody spike ore. It's my brother's. This is my brother's collection behind me. And he's got a spike ore. Adam, don't start, mate. You're a guest here.
I'm Spike.
But ding, 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 ding. Hans Chow gets a prize. Yeah, found it. It's so Nodsy's collection is behind me. Whose girlfriend is that? I missed a conversation. Oh, how shit is Spike ore?
Hey, Hazel.
Get rah, 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 rah. Get the fuck out of here. Oh, language.
3 reasons to talk to me. That's his only bit. He can count to 3.
This spike ore is so garbage that they even gave him 2 hands.
Oh, look at that.
What's the point of that?
Well, there's like 11 points on his chest.
Just good point. Just garbage. I think I'll stop putting that in front of this epic clown action figure. Keep that in there. Get out of here, Spike ore. But yeah,
is that a movie? Is that a movie version of a clown, like the Johnny Legs clown?
You'll hear Todd in the other end. Don't touch my stuff.
Johnny Legs clown. Look at that from the movie series.
That's Luigi.
Yeah. So you know what? I'm gonna ruin all of my action figure cred right now. I didn't hate the Spawn movie.
No, I liked it.
Yeah. Like, granted, the effects are dated. Like, they stand out as like late 90s effects. But like people hate that movie and like, oh, it's a fun watch.
I don't know. I've never met anyone that hated it. I just never met anyone that's seen it.
Right.
So the two different things. But I thought it was okay. I was a Marvel fanboy.
Yeah.
So I didn't collect Image comics, but Todd was super.
Don't touch my stuff.
Bit late, mate. How much of a delay?
Tell your butler to mind his role.
Yeah, just putting it back. Just putting it back where it was. There we are. Sorry about that, guys. Bit embarrassing.
Open it up, right? Unbox it.
Should I open it?
Open it up. Unbox it.
All right. I'm gonna open it up. Yeah. I think it's. Is there a little bit? I reckon I could do it too. I'm just gonna find. I'm gonna do it. I'm not even scared. You know what I'll do? I know Todd's watching now, so I won't do it. You know what I'll do as a goof is I'll get an action figure, keep it below camera, grab one of those, and open the just whatever generic toy, and so it sounds like I'm pulling the bubble off, and watch him run from his room. Oh, my clown!
My clown!
Big delay.
They used to call me public school.
Yeah. So by the time he sees that I've picked it up, he might actually start running out going, don't open my toys.
Right.
It was a good movie. So Todd was into Spawn, Image comics and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
Gen 13?
Yeah, Gen 13 was a big thing. So, but we're not gonna get into it. We're talking about canon in a second again. But there's a thing where people like to rip on like early 90s comic book movies and open it. He says, open it.
So tempted. Next time.
But like people like to rip on like Dick Tracy and the Phantom and the Shadow, like just tear them apart. Like those were just like at the time that was the best. Like they were fun, just fun movies.
They were fun. The Rocketeer.
Rocketeer.
The He-Man movie as well. Like I know we're Motu fans, right?
Yeah.
But that's just because it's not like the cartoon doesn't mean that it's not a good movie. So, for instance, the Ninja Turtles movie, I wasn't aware of the original source material, right?
Right.
I knew the cartoon and the Archie comics, right? So when I went into that, I was like, this is a big departure from what I'm used to, but it's bloody good.
Bloody good.
It is so good, and it's still good today.
I think we are one mini comic away from the Motu movie making sense.
Right. Yeah, right? I agree. Yeah.
8 pages of here's where you get your new armor. Orko and Cringer in prison. Moving on.
That's all they had to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, Gen 13 was great. So Kimberly's got an idea for opening other people's toys. Yep. It won't last long. It'll be one hell of a ripper show, though. Yes. Who's ripping on the Phantom? The Shadow. So the Phantom, this is an adult story, but do you want to hear it?
Yes.
It's an adult conversation. We're going to finish on this adult conversation. Wait, don't say it like that. So, the Phantom for me, now I didn't hate the movie, and I kind of liked the comic, but I wasn't collecting it all the time. You could read it in the paper, right? But I would only periodically pick up a comic book. Anyway, so there was what we call the Royal Show, right? Which is a traveling show that goes around Australia.
And they put Phantom comic books in the goodie bag.
Yeah. Exactly. Now, I went to this. This is before the internet and everything, right? So everything that happened here was all just the universe making things happen. So I went to the Royal Show, and I met this girl there, and I'd never met her before. We didn't go to the same school. We didn't live in the same town, and I only knew her name, and that was it, right? And we walked around the show together. We didn't even swap phone numbers, and I was like, I'm never going to see this person ever again, right? About 3 months later, I see her again at the Galleria at the shopping mall, and I'm like, "Oh, okay, it's you from the show." She's like, "Oh yeah, it's you from the show." And I was like, "I'm going to go and see the Phantom. Do you want to come and see the Phantom?" She's like, "I'd love to go and see the Phantom." So we went to go see the Phantom. Now I'm in, I want to say, what year did that come out? I think it was like in year 10.
Yeah, well,
9 or 10?
Yeah, grade 10. Yeah, because I had just moved to Trent, so it's like 96, 97.
Right. So I'm a growing teenage boy sitting watching a nerd movie with a girl, like a real life girl, right? Real life girl. Partway through the movie, she starts grabbing on my hang down.
Whoa.
Well, and I haven't put any move on. No moves. I'm a perfect gentleman, right?
Your move is no moves.
My moves was no moves, and those moves worked, right? So she's grabbing on my hang down in the middle of the Phantom, and I'm like, I kind of still want to just watch the Phantom.
Billy Zane's doing stuff.
This is zany. This is way. Stop speaking. Stop speaking Aussie. What's a hang down? It's a doodle. She kept grabbing on my doodle. So, anywho, I still am not putting any moves on, right? Not putting any moves because I've paid tickets. I don't have a lot of money.
$8.
So it was probably less than $8, but I was like sitting there watching the movie, credits roll, and she goes after the movie, credits rolling. This is before Marvel movies, so you don't have to wait for the end credits. And she goes, "Do you want to go and find somewhere a little quiet?" And I'm like, "Okay." And long story short, this is not appropriate, and I'm not going to get into too much detail. Long story short, but I lost my virginity after watching The Phantom.
Whoa.
Yep.
Wow.
Wowzers.
So for one of us, it had the reverse effect.
You gained your virginity.
Everybody else, it deterred ladies, and for one guy in Australia, it was.
She must have really liked Billy Zane.
Yeah. Unbelievable.
Yeah. And then I never saw her again.
I just learned that about the show with the bags and the comic books for the Phantom, because there's a misnomer that the Phantom is an Australian comic book because Australia has embraced it so much.
Yeah. I believed it was Australian. Don't ruin this for me, Ron.
Ron ruins that.
Ruined. Woo! Phantom action. Yeah, there's a Phantom ring joke here somewhere. All the pieces are here for that, but I haven't figured it out yet.
Yeah, well, we'll figure it around. The joining of the skulls or something.
So somewhere there's a I don't know 25-year-old. I'm trying to think how old I was. There's maybe a 30-year-old person out there saying, "Yeah, my mom met this stranger while watching The Phantom." I've never met my dad.
Your story is my dad is Billy Zane.
Yeah, the ghost who porks.
Wow, I'm not gonna lie to you. That is not where I expected that story to go. Incredible.
It was definitely a lot more graphic than that, but I'll just leave it there.
Yeah, we don't need to get into details. We
We don't need to get into a 30-second adventure. Let's let it go. 30-second adventures with Zazel.
That's right. Unbelievable. Well, there you go. I'll never be able to watch The Phantom the same again.
I never could. It's so uneventful when I watch it now. It's like I used to get something out of this.
I remember this being better.
I remember there being at least a little bit more from this movie.
Right.
Anyway, thanks for letting me share that, guys. Thanks.
This is your show. You share what you want, buddy.
No. All right. So 30 seconds. Does that include there, mate? If I told you where it happened, I don't know whether you'd be impressed or if you would be disappointed.
I can just see your brother like, really, stop touching my stuff.
Yeah, stop touching it. This is not an unboxing now.
No, but imagine that was a thing. It was like non-consent unboxings where we just break into people's houses and unbox toys live.
Yeah, but then we display them, like beautifully display them.
Yeah.
It's not after midnight here yet, but yeah. Sorry, Kimbo. Sorry. Oh yeah. So now date night. Now he can't do it unless Phantom is on in the back. That's the only way it works now. Oh, you want some Z's, baby? Let me get my DVD.
I think a lot of people are going to be getting the Phantom on DVD for Christmas this year.
Yeah. The sticky Phantom.
Did you ever see the sequel that was made for television?
Hang on a second. Kenny, how are you, buddy? Nice to catch you live at a reason. Well, I don't know what the reason is, but thanks for jumping in, buddy. So what was the question, Ads?
Have you ever seen the Phantom sequel that was made for television?
No, I have not.
It was like the Phantom Returns or something. I have it on DVD, but it's like him modern day.
Yeah.
And he's like, and there's one moment where he's like, I'm not wearing my dad's old suit. Because like these people come and say he needs to be the Phantom because his dad was the Phantom. They take him to the cave and they have Billy Zane's suit there. And he's like, I'm not wearing it. Yeah.
Is it any good?
It's good.
Movie night. That's a movie night.
Watch along.
We're getting the gang together. All right, gang, we're getting together for a Phantom 2. I'll keep the video at this level. I'll keep it PG.
Perfect.
yeah, just the top half.
Just the top half.
Stop it. Get some help. Now before we got sidetracked, what were we gonna? I was gonna say what we were gonna finish on, but let's not word it that way.
Yeah, I think we were talking about Canada. We're talking the bittersweetness of all the adventures that we had, and movie night, and it was genuinely sad when you went home. It was you worded it in that when we met on the Wednesday of Joefest, we had Wednesday and then the weekend and then the following weekend you were leaving like the next Monday. So we had like over a week and a half together. And on the Wednesday, it felt like we had all the time in the world. And before we knew it, it felt like these moments are fleeting and growing short, and we tried to make the most of them. And so, yeah, Canada as a whole misses you, buddy. Well,
I appreciate that, man. I want to come back ASAP. I hope to. And if there's a way I could do that permanently, I would. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But that's definitely one of the nicest towns I've ever been to, with the nicest people I've ever met. And I remember I was actually having a conversation with Hans. I think we were sitting down I think we're sitting down at a restaurant eating breakfast at I can't remember what that place was called. They had like they did have was it Pancake Palace? Was it Pancake Palace? Where did we go to eat?
The IHOP.
Maybe. Hey, G-Force Racing 20. How are you, buddy?
The International House of Pancakes.
I was in the bar.
Right.
Yeah, we had a deeping, meaningful conversation about enjoying the moment and what we're taking away from it. I'm still going with this one, but thanks, bud. Todd's coming in to see if I want a coffee, but in actual fact, he's just checking to see if I've opened up his toys.
Yeah, stop clowning around, he says.
Oh yeah, and yeah, we went to Waffle House, but it must have been at the bar. I had so many D&Ms with Hans. Hans. Now I want to say this about Hans, right? And I have to say this. I feel compelled to say this, right? He speaks in poetry. Everything he says when he talks, he could read out a recipe, and I would be like, "Wow, that's beautiful, man!" Right? And I knew this, and when they were doing the documentary for the Sarge for A&M, and they asked me if there's anyone else in the crowd, I said someone's come all the way from Trinidad and Tobago, Hans Chow. You need to go and talk to that guy, right? Now, so they did. They interviewed him as well. Now I remember I was so excited. that they did that. And I was like, Hans, tell me all about it. Tell me what happened. And he goes, they asked me this question, and it was the same question they asked me. And I remember him telling me how he answered that question. And all of a sudden, I'm like, oh no, I'm going to sound like a peasant next to House poetry talk. What have I done? There's going to be some drongo Aussie going, yeah, mate, just I bloody love it coming over here from Australia, mate. Yeah, we just play with dirt and sticks. Right, and then we got Hans Chow going, oh, the beautiful poetry that is life and emotions, and I'm like, oh, that's chalk and cheese. What have I done?
That's amazing.
What have I done?
So,
but no,
speaking of Hans Chow, speaking poetry, I was speaking at a summer camp this year, and there was a young lad there that I saw, and I was like, oh, you look just like Hans Chow. So I said, you kind of look like fake Hans Chow. So this is a picture of me and fake Hans Chow.
Yeah.
And so I started calling him Hans Chow, and the camp embraced it to the point where I had videos of 150 kids chanting Hans Chow, Hans Chow. And then, so I would send messages from fake Hans Chow to real Hans Chow as like a gag, like, ha, 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 ha. And Hans Chow replies with, hello, you may not be a real Hans Chow, but I can give you some real advice. Be kind. And he goes on like a 6-minute speech on life to this kid he's never met.
Yeah, he's just such a beautiful person.
Yeah.
There was, and I'm going to share another experience I had with Hans Chow. Now, Hans Chow, if you don't know Hans Chow, he's delightfully Asian looking, but in the most beautiful man. I'm going to go back to Hans Chow. Now, I don't think it's unfair to say that he is not only the toughest and strongest looking of us all, but just such a beautiful man. Now, we had a conversation. I'm sure he doesn't mind me sharing this, but he said, whenever I smile, my eyes they go very squinty, and I feel like I look too Chinese or something along those lines. And I was like, Hans, when I smile, like when I really smile, when I'm genuinely happy and around the people that I'm with, I smile. My eyes go so squinty, I can't even see. If I'm laughing so loud or smiling with such passion that my smile reaches my eyes, right? I can't see anything. I'm blinded. That's just what happens to me. And that's just what real, genuine happiness looks like, right? If you're laughing to the point where you can't breathe, you can't see because your eyes are squinty, that means that you're really in that moment. You really feel it.
Yeah.
But yes, and yes, Hans' artwork is just brilliant. So he also did a beautiful, beautiful picture for Phil's daughter.
Of Miraculous, the ladybug lady.
Right? Beautiful. Right back at you, Hans. Right back. I can't articulate things like you do, Hans, but I want you to know I love you. I love you, buddy.
Yeah, I just follow Hans around. When he says great stuff, I go, yeah, me too.
Yeah, same. Ditto. Same. Back at you.
Yeah.
But real genuine love for everyone here in this photo. You are awesome. That is true. The conversation at the bar is tattooed in my mind. It was a profound moment of shared clarity. The line was, "We haven't been this happy in so long, it's surreal." Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
It was surreal. And and I think one of the fears that we had was that moment was going to end. But the way I saw it was that I was just happy it happened at all.
Yeah. Well, I think too, in our lives, we have moments and experiences happen because of a number of events or whatever. And we often try and recreate the experience that we have by going to the same place or doing the same things. But in reality, it's the people that we're with. And it doesn't matter where we go or what we do. But it's when you surround yourself with people, it's the relationship that happens that creates even better experiences.
Exactly. I think there were moments where all together we were all just laughing so hard that I don't want to say the words that my cheeks hurt, but
Yeah.
But I laughed so hard my cheeks hurt, and it is bittersweet at the end when you all have to. And this moment here was the last photo that we all took together because
so
you
this
left
is actually quite funny because Hans Cho, as we all call him the poet, didn't know I was actually leaving the show. He just thought I was like going out to get a drink or something. So when I said, "Hey, Hans, man, I gotta get going," well, I said bye to him. He like made like a weird Hans Chowian joke, and then. And it was fine. It was good. And then I left. But he sent me the biggest apology. Like, "Listen, man, I didn't know you were leaving, and I wouldn't have wasted my goodbye on that nonsense. I hope you forgive me." I was like, God, calm down.
Oh, beautiful. But yeah, it was a perfect weekend. It had its moments of just like magical moments, and the fact, oh geez, no, but it was filled with so much magic that it just felt special. Like it felt like that was the Joefest to be at. Right. It felt like that was the right year to go. It was the right moment to be there with all of these great people.
But it also, so we were at the hotel restaurant having breakfast, and somebody came in and talked to us and asked that question. That person was like, "Hey, why does it seem like everybody's here this year?" Like, and I was like, it was a domino effect because they asked the question, "Why is Joefest a draw?" And you are good vibes too, buddy. But it wasn't Joefest at all. It was the people. So like when I heard you and Gaz were going, I was like, well, yeah, I want to go. And then like found out Joe Recondo was going to be there, and Chad, and Hans then decided he was going to come down, and Kelly. And so it was this domino effect of like, this is a chance we have not to go to Joefest, but it's a chance we have to go hang out.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's more of a, do you want to come over and hang out situation? We're going to do it at Joefest.
The only thing that would have made it cooler is if TJC, Ryan, Phil, Space Commander, all the people that couldn't make it, if only they could have made it too. There
was moments where you and I were like looking at Motu figures.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm cheating on Phil.
Yeah. And then we had that video with the Skeletor guy.
Yeah.
It was like, oh, Phil. But it was, I feel like we didn't really film a lot that was happening there. And I have no regrets on that either.
I think, and now there's a lot of good Joefest videos out there. There's a lot of good ones. I think the Sky Striker video was the perfect way to do a Joefest video. Do a little recap, do something specific to your channel, like I'm going to restore this thing and have you involved, make it a little special. Have a couple shots from Joefest, but I didn't want to go there and be behind the camera the whole time. I just wanted to hang out, right? I wanted two things. I wanted to have the best experience I could, but I also wanted my friends to feel like they were I was there because of that, not because I wanted to be at Joefest. It was double-edged sword, right?
Exactly. And there were plenty of people doing really good stuff like that, like the Hooded Cocoa duo that was smashing it for HE788's channel. And they got some brilliant footage. If you ever want to go back and check out like as it was on the floor, that sort of stuff. But I didn't want to experience it from behind the camera. I wanted to just absorb it. Right. And every moment I wanted to absorb. One of the biggest decisions I had to make for Joefest in one evening was I'd already experienced the Sarge's house. I already experienced Hooters with the Sarge. And then the next night, we were all getting together for dinner, like all of us. Hans, Gaz, Joe Recondo, the Dom and other Dom.
Joe.
And Joe and everyone that was showing up for dinner. And on the same night, Sarge is like, oh, we've got a private table at the restaurant. You want to come and join us? I'm like, oh, dude, I really do want to. I really do want to. Like, that is awesome to be able to go and hang out with you in your private restaurant area. But I got to hang out with my buddies, you know. Like, this is a great opportunity, but I got to hang out with my friends. You know, it was a tough choice. Yeah. But then we did see him afterwards, though. So we did go to the bar afterwards and hang out with drunk Sarge, and that was brilliant. The best experience. But that was a tough one. Hey, Johnny. Yo, Transformers. Yes, exactly, Hans. Exactly that. Yeah, and Shabby was a great guy to meet too. And some of those people that we met, I knew by face, and some people you knew by name. And so if I saw somebody that I didn't recognize by face and they said who they were, I was like, oh, I know who you are. Come in and give them a big hug.
But there was a bit of a weirdness where it's like you see somebody that you know and you're like, and you've been on their stream or seen them in chat, and you're like, we're friends, right? Like we right. And you're like, oh, okay, we're friends. And then
we're buddies, right? Yeah.
Because there was people that you knew and were friends with, and there's people that you knew and were acquaintances with, and it was a clear distinction.
So some people you knew, and they were neither friends nor acquaintances.
Right.
Odd moments like that.
Odd moments
that happened. You know,
a shoulder here or there.
I can't believe you got shouldered.
In the most Canadian moment, and again, names remain anonymous. But somebody from the YouTube space walked by and fed me the shoulder.
Yeah.
And, in my Canadianness, I apologized to him.
Ruined. Oh, gee.
Yeah.
All right. Well, mate, this was an absolute fun hangout.
Absolutely.
I don't know why you weren't on an episode of Welcome to the Slaughterhouse before this. I think maybe it's because we were just buddies and we're hanging out doing all sorts of stuff.
Hanging out. And there's always, I'll just bring my friends Spiker with me. It's been great being on the show. Hopefully we can do it again sometime. Yeah. Oh yeah. I gotta spend the this tail fin of a Sky Striker so that Spacey can sign it.
Yeah. I did in your honor, Space Commander. I did draw the Space Commander logo on the Sky Striker.
You did,
and then it got water dropped on that exact bloody spot.
the one raindrop that got hit was Hazel's signature. But I think we should do a thing where I get as many spike ores as I can.
Yeah.
And then we just do off camera, like I'll go like this, and then we'll bring spike ore on, and we'll just do script reads all as spike ore. Like, you can waste time at Tashi Station with your friends later.
Yeah.
Spike ore theater, I think would be
yeah.
That'll get a view or two.
Boba Fett, where? Oh, you mean Battle Cat?
Battle Cat,
where? All right, Adam, I'll see you again. We're going to have another games night. We'll tee that up. So Adam does our Figure House Games Night here in the channel. If you want to take part and knock Space Commander from the top spot, but do it delicately. Don't be a jerk about it. If you want to knock Space Commander off the top spot, just become a channel member, and you can join in on our Epic Games Nights that we do once a month as part of Patreon and or members.
And they have been getting progressively more funny. Like I've come around with more laugh pains than ever.
Yeah. There. Oh man, it's such a fun hangout when we do the games nights. Joefest 23 was legendary. All you guys and girl, hi Kelly, are all great, and I'm honored to be able to call you my friends. Yes, brilliantly said.
Remember running down the hallway and hugging Gaz? Remember that?
We got out of the line that we were in to go and give Gaz a hug.
Yeah,
that's our buddy Gaz.
Remember that guy who just joined our group though in the line?
Yeah, didn't like that guy.
It was 8 tight knit friends. And then some they were just like photobombing at pictures and like being like, just like, I'm part of the group. What are we doing? What are we doing for lunch, guys?
Yeah. Oh, that guy. He was okay. I thought you were talking about there was another guy that cut into line and then let all his other friends cut in. Okay. No, that other guy was cool. Yeah. He was cool. He was great. So games are coming up, but do check out Adam's channel. Go figure. I know you guys already do. If you're here, there's no way you're not there. And check out Adam's videos. They're all good stuff. It's modern day.
I got a little hint for my next video if you want.
It's a milk jug.
It's a milk jug. Oh, I'm going to send that to RetroTinker. Found a Storm Shadow in the box.
Nice.
That's going down under. But this is a little teaser for the next Go Figure video.
Ooh, who is going to become a battle armor version? Stinkle. Right. Spikeall.
Imagine that. Take his spikes away.
Loser. Not you, Adam. Sorry, not you.
Oh, this guy. I'm not a loser.
Awesome. Yeah, it is. All right. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing that ads. If you don't mind me calling you ads. Too bad if you do.
We got nicknames. You call me ads, I call you the Phantom.
I think afterwards I was known as the Phantom Menace.
That just popped me.
Oh. Battle Armor Ace Hunter.
Yes. I gave Gaz the Battle Armor Ace Hunter at Joefest. Tila, that man. It's 2023. Stranger things have happened.
It'll happen. And sent to the UK and also up to the space station. All right. You know what? What a great idea. And that's another thing about the friendship that we have around, and I don't want to say community because that's lame, but our circle of friends that we have created where they're like, hey, that's so cool. Can I sign it too?
Right.
Right. They want to be a part of that. And that's so good. It's so good. Space Commander and I will be doing another incoming transmission. We'll tee that up. There is definitely I want to do a deep dive on the character of Space Commander, right? Because I'd like to know a little bit more about the character.
Like behind the music.
Behind the music, yeah. Behind the space station with Space Commander. Yeah, I'm down to clown. Oh, yeah. There you go. Jace would like to sign it too.
Brilliant.
We had JaceCon very recently.
And again, when it comes to the Sky Striker, a big thank you to Ken Poe for hooking us up with some missiles and panels.
Huge thank you.
Big thank you.
What a journey. What a journey. All right. So we'll leave it there. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Please do leave a like. I've got to figure out a video that we're going to play this out on. What do we feel like looking at?
You have the end credits for the Phantom?
No, I wish. But let's go with the Slaughter to Slaughter song again.
Let's do it.
All right. Everyone, thank you for tuning in. Please do leave a like. Do subscribe to Adam from Go Figure. Check out his videos. He's way more cooler than he looks. And just kidding. He's as cool as he looks. One of my best and truest friends. Thank you for joining me at the Slaughterhouse, Adam.
Just love hanging out, buddy.
Yeah, me too. All right, and here is Adam's rendition of Slaughter Disorder. Take it away.
Disorder, I'm a hoarder of slaughter. And if I want another slaughter, I just make an order. I pay dollars, not quarters, just to get the slaughters. My obsession overflows like bubble bath water.
I love slaughter, disorder. I'm a hoarder of slaughter. If I want another slaughter, I just make an order. Pay dollars, not quarters, just to get the slaughter. My obsession overflows like bubble bath water. My obsession overflows like bubble bath water. Yeah, I love slaughter, disorder. I'm a hoarder of slaughter. If I want another slaughter, I just make an order. Pay dollars, not quarters, just to get the slaughters. Cause my obsession overflows like bubble bath water. My obsession overflows like bubble bath water. Yeah, I love slaughter, disorder. I'm a hoarder of slaughter. If I want another slaughter, just make an order. Pay dollars, not quarters, just to get the slaughter.
Seriously though, how fucking shit is Sparkle?
It came in the box